Chapter 834. Chapter 834. Awakened Magical Power. Yi Shiwen had remained in half-step Transcendent Realm Initial for too long. The reason why he had chosen not to break through was to lay a solid foundation. When the actual breakthrough took place, he could truly step into Transcendent Realm level combat power. Now, he finally ascended to the half-step Transcendent Realm Intermediate, just as he expected. After stepping into the half-step Transcendent Realm Intermediate, his combat power rose by several levels, in which he could contend with Transcendent Realm first-level masters. His Star Beast avatar could not do so back then, but his main body could achieve this feat now. But he still hadn't stopped, because only a part of the Star Beast's blood essence energy was absorbed. Initially, the Star Beast power realm was much stronger than his main body, not to mention that the Star Beast body was also hundreds and thousands of times stronger. It would be so easy for Yi Ziwen's true self to absorb it all. After another day passed, Yi Shiwen finally reached half-step Transcendent Realm Intermediate Peak. He could step into half-step Transcendent Realm late at any time, but he suppressed this breakthrough. He just had a breakthrough, so he was not fit for another breakthrough. The remaining blood essence energy could not be digested and could only remain in his body for now. This energy might be able to support him through entering Transcendent Realm 2nd level, 3rd level, or even higher. On the other side, the bloodline power that belonged to the Star Beast was also integrated into his spirit, but it was only forced inside tentatively. He did not know how long it would take for it to integrate fully, so he did not learn any of those secret techniques and magical powers. He only learned a more popular innate magical power, which was the Demon Chi Bomb. Those beasts could spit out this Demon Chi Bomb when they opened their mouths, hence making it popular. Even the Star Swallow that the original Star Beast avatar learned was not retained. However, although it was a popular innate magical power, Demon Chi Bombs from different clans were naturally very different. They looked similar, but they were not the same. The Demon Chi Bomb cultivation method passed through the Star Beast clan was the best of the best. To put the Demon Chi Bomb bluntly, there was no complicated principle behind it. It involved compressing the Bodis Chi, or Demon Chi, and spitting it out. It was an innate magical power because it relied on the Bodis' unique structures that outsiders couldn't duplicate. Yi Shiwen could only learn it after integrating the Star Beast blood essence bloodline, and his body became able to mimic the internal structures of a Star Beast in a short period. Although the principle was not complicated, it did not mean that it was weak. It also had mighty output, utilizing absolute strength to oppress all opponents. A Demon Chi Bomb was more powerful than Yi Ziwen's full power. If an unguarded Transcendent Realm 2nd level master got hit by a Demon Chi Bomb, he would also get severely injured on the spot. This power had become Yi Ziwen's trump card. After Yi Shiwen swallowed the Star Beast's blood essence and bloodline, he gradually began to present some Star Beast characteristics. For example, the chi in his body was 10 times more than the initial amount, though it was still not comparable to the scale of when he had the Star Beast avatar, which was 100 times greater. However, with continuous integration, there was still room for gradual improvement. Even so, he was now like a beast in human form, with a physical body and chi level far beyond an ordinary person's. Even so, at the peak state, he could only fire 10 Demon Chi bombs consecutively. If it were an ordinary person, their chi would become depleted after firing one, and he would be vulnerable. Therefore, this Demon Chi bomb could only be used as a trump card. When used during critical moments, it could even severely injure a Transcendent Realm 2nd level master. In the future, as Yi Shiwen integrated more of the Star Beast blood essence and bloodline, its power would gradually increase, at which point it would become even stronger. Now that he had finished his cultivation, Yi Shiwen wouldn't stay in Tianyuan Mirror anymore. He exited Tianyuan Mirror straight away. He was still only half-step Transcendent Realm Intermediate, but in terms of combat power, he was confident he was just as strong as the Star Beast avatar when he just arrived at the Ancient Baron's mainland, or even stronger. He could even contend with Transcendent Realm 2nd level masters. If he could severely injure a Transcendent Realm 2nd level master with a Demon Chi Bomb, then killing one was not entirely impossible. These were all things that couldn't be done when he had the Star Beast avatar. Above the boundless sea, a huge fleet of ships sailed through the waves as it navigated over. Above the ship's bow, a woman in her 20s stood on the bow, her slender figure perfectly straight. She was wearing a long blue dress that complemented the entire ocean. Her shoulder-length hair fluttered in the wind. The bare-faced lattice face was indifferent. No one knew what she was thinking. "Miss, I have already investigated it." A middle-aged man's voice came from behind the woman. A resolute man with thick eyebrows and big eyes strode over. A powerful master must have battled here, so all the beasts in this area were scared away. It ended up saving us a lot of trouble. That would be the best. I was afraid that someone might ambush us in this area. That would be terrible, the woman said mildly, looking at the sea with slight concern. It shouldn't come to that. Such a powerful person must have long surpassed transcendent realm. Neither the Wu family nor the Yuan family can employ such a master. Even if they knew such a person, the price of employing such a powerful master to battle would bankrupt them, said the middle-aged man. So, I don't think it was someone they employed to ambush us. That's true. The woman nodded. Suddenly, there was a loud splash, and a figure jumped out of the water directly. "Haha, I'm finally out." Yi Shiwen laughed loudly. He had felt very disgruntled in the period he spent in the sea. "Who is it?" Seeing Yi Shiwen emerge from the bottom of the sea, the already very nervous Armada suddenly became even more nervous. Yi Shiwen just realized that there happened to be a fleet of ships passing by. In the vast sea, he didn't even know where he was anymore. He fled in a panic when he was being hunted down before, basically not in any specific direction. Hence, he didn't even know where he had flown to now. At that moment, Yi Shiwen only felt dozens of overwhelming forces targeted at him. If he made one small mistake, it would immediately bring about an attack from the ships. Among them, there were even Transcendent Realm 3rd level and 4th level masters. Yi Zaiwen's spiritual senses were keen enough to tell at one glance. Yi Shiwen stepped forward and said, "I am Yi Shiwen. I accidentally entered this sea region and got lost. I don't know what sea region this is, nor do I know which direction the Ancient Baron's mainland is. If you do know, please show me the way." "Ancient Baron's mainland? That is already 50 million kilometers away from here," said the woman standing at the bow. "This is the Flourished Cloud Sea region. We are the Armada of the Wang family of South Initiate Island. I am the youngest daughter, Wang Mingyu." "So, you are Lady Wang's?" Yi Shiwen said with his hands cupped over his chest. "I don't have any bad intentions. I just got lost. If that's the case, then I will take my leave." Yi Shiwen could feel the hostility from the many masters on the ship. Although he was confident that the other party could not eliminate him, he did not want to create conflict with others hastily. It was just that he didn't expect that he and the North Mountain clan chief went so deep into the sea region in one go. In the beginning, he was only occupied with fleeing and hadn't noticed anything. It was more than 50 million kilometers. Going back would be extremely difficult. Although it was effortless for him to get here, it was because of the North Mountain clan chief's pressure, so no beast dared to approach him, whether big or small. However, if he were alone, then he would inevitably have to fight. It would not be as easy to go back. As a Transcendent Realm 1st level warrior, it would be dangerous for him to walk in the place where many beasts roamed. When he just stepped in a Truth Realm and headed toward the East Sea, the situation was not as dangerous as now. After all, he only trained at the outskirts of the East Sea and did not dare enter. "Brother Yi, it will take tens of millions of miles to get to the Ancient Baron's mainland. There will be countless beasts on the way. If you don't mind, you can ride on our boat for now. Our South Initiate Island is also in the direction of the Ancient Barons. We can send you on your way," said Wang Mingyu. Behind her, the facial expressions of the middle-aged man and the others changed slightly. At that moment, it was not a good idea to take the person in front of them on board without knowing whether he was an enemy or a friend. "Miss, I'm afraid this would be inappropriate. If he is someone else's spy, then it would be bad for us," the middle-aged man advised her through voice transmission. "Uncle Lo, I naturally have a reason for doing this. He is just a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate. He can't stir up much trouble on our ship. Moreover, I can tell he has an outstanding temperament. He is no small fry. A person like that will be an outstanding person rising above the rest in any family. So how can he be a spy? Whether it is the Wu family or the Yuan family, there are no other outstanding figures besides those two, so I don't think it is likely that he is the spy, said Wang Mingyu mildly. Even so, even if the risk is that low, we can't take any risks, the middle-aged man, Wang Lu, said stubbornly. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the spiritual volcano is about to open. I received news that the Wu family and the Yuan family may join hands against our Wang family at this time. For the rank competition, they may employ outsiders and join hands to edge out our Wang family's share. At that point, things will be terrible. I can't hold the scene alone, replied Wang Mingyu. This person came from the ancient baron's mainland, and he is not any young master we know. If we can employ him to battle, at least our Wang family will be able to keep our current share. Only then did Wang Lun know that Wang Mingyu had such plans. Chapter 835. Chapter 835. Arriving at South Initiate Island on the other side, Yi Shiwen and Yi Mo began a discussion in his consciousness. Yi Shiwen, you are too far away from the mainland now. It's unrealistic to traverse tens of millions of miles of sea region by just relying on your cultivation. It's better to follow this armada to South Initiate Island first, said Yi Mo. Besides, even if you go back now, you will not be able to handle that old scumbag. You wouldn't even be able to take care of that North Mountain Ling scumbag. Right now, you can't afford getting hunted again. This time, there is no star beast avatar to take the blow for you. Yi Shiwen was silent for a while. Indeed, with his current strength, traversing these tens of millions of miles was a problem, let alone going back to create trouble with the old scumbag. He did not have the old scumbag's strength, which could scare off all the beasts in one go. Similarly, he could only put aside finding his birth father for now. Besides, so many years had passed, so what if another few years passed? Although this sea region is nothing like the central mainland, there are many young masters here. There are even giant monsters in the depths of the ocean that even that old North Mountain scumbag wouldn't dare enter. It is a good chance to tamper yourself, said Yi Mo. Yi Zaiwen's original plan was to figure out his origins first. After thoroughly understanding his past self's predecessor, he would travel to the mainland. At that point, he should already be on his own and aim to achieve the martial arts peak. Once he had enough strength, he would go to ancient Phoenix Domain and bring Hua Minghan back. Presently, he was still too weak. In the ancient baron's mainland, someone like him was simply a dime a dozen. His death would not cause a ripple. In that case, I shall heed your advice. Yi Shiwen nodded. In this sea region, where the surroundings looked the same, there weren't any directions. As soon as Yi Shiwen boarded the ship, he could feel that no one in the armada was friendly to him. They were indistinctly wary and hostile, but Yi Shiwen didn't take it to heart either. He wasn't planning to associate himself with them too deeply anyway. As soon as he arrived at South Initiate Island, he would find a chance to leave. 3 days later, the armada had already crossed the vast sea and headed in a specific direction. Who is Brother Yes Mentor? Wang Mingyu asked softly from the deck. Even amidst the strong winds and waves, her voice sounded abnormally clear in Yi Zaiwen's ears. She couldn't tell Yi Zaiwen's cultivation level. On the surface, Yi Shiwen was just a half-step transcendent realm intermediate warrior, but he gave her a dangerous feeling, which was absurd. She had already entered transcendent realm first level, and she was above average, a well-known genius in South Initiate Island. There was no way she was afraid of a half-step transcendent realm warrior. She just had a feeling. However, this feeling gradually faded. Now, she couldn't even feel it anymore. At a certain point, she even wondered if she sensed wrong. No, she trusted her senses. That kind of danger was like a ferocious beast in the sea that could pounce on her and tear her apart at any time. It was precisely because she believed in her senses that she invited Yi Shiwen on board. If Yi Shiwen knew Wang Mingji's thoughts at this time, he would be surprised by her senses because her senses were not wrong. Yi Shiwen just ascended into the half-step transcendent realm intermediate a few days ago, so he still couldn't control the aura emanating from his body. Although he tried his best to suppress his aura, a sliver of it still leaked out. Just like unsheathing a sword, even unsheathing a little bit was enough to let people see the sword's sharpness. Now, as the realm gradually consolidated, he was able to completely hold back the aura leaking from his body, which was like returning the sword to its sheath. In appearance, he looked like an ordinary half-step transcendent realm. Many people had underestimated Yi Shiwen this way and lost badly to him. Now, Yi Shiwen had already passed the stage where he needed to act dumb to take advantage of others, but he still didn't want to be brash. It's just a minor lineage. I'm afraid no one will know it if I say it out loud. Yi Shiwen smiled faintly. Behind the two of them, Wang Le followed almost every step of the way, as if he was afraid that Yi Shiwen would harm Wang Mingyu. He didn't know why he thought so, but he vaguely felt that Yi Shiwen was a great threat. Only after a few days of seeing that Yi Shiwen didn't behave out of the ordinary, he could relax slightly. When Wang Mingyu saw that Yi Shiwen wouldn't say, she didn't continue to ask, but she didn't believe Yi Ziwen's statement. How could an ordinary sect foster such an extraordinary person like Yi Shiwen? She didn't believe it. She just took it as Yi Shiwen not wanting to say it. By the way, Lady Wang, why haven't I seen any sea beasts in all this time? Is there a trick to this? Yi Shiwen asked. In 3 days, the armada had already sailed out of the place where Yi Shiwen and the North Mountain clan chief had a battle, but he still hadn't seen any sea beasts cause trouble. In fact, each sea beast was more brutal than the next, and they feared nothing. How would it be possible that not a single one showed up? It's not a secret. Most sea region natives know this. We sprinkled a type of spice around the ship, which is the spice that sea beasts hate the most so that they won't approach us, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen suddenly realized and nodded. Sure enough, if that weren't the case, an armada would not be able to travel the ocean. In fact, the density of beasts in the sea was far higher than on land. At least on land, most beasts were found in mountainous areas, but they were everywhere in the sea, and the number might be dozens of times higher than on land. When Yi Shiwen asked that, Wang Mingyu became even more certain that Yi Shiwen came from the ancient Baron's mainland. How many masters born and raised in the sea region didn't know this? The armada then traveled for another full day. Finally, a large island appeared in front of everyone. The island seemed like infinite stars in the endless sea, except most of them were uninhabited islands. The proportion of inhabited islands was not great, but the number was still staggering. In the past few days, Yi Shiwen has heard Wang Mingyu's explanation. The South Initiate Island was huge, but there was only one city, South Initiate City. The vast majority of the island's population lived in South Initiate City. Although it was only an island, it had a population of over 20 million. The most powerful families besides the Wang family were the Wu family and the Yuan family. However, they never opposed the Wang family much. Yi Shiwen couldn't help but sigh. The Ancient Barrens was a prime cultivation location. Still, he thought about how several billion people in the entire South region only gave birth to such few Transcendent Realm Masters. At the same time, South Initiate Island only had a population of over 20 million. Still, the number of Transcendent Realm Masters born here was comparable to the entire true martial school, which was impressive. More than that, the Ancient Baron's mainland was the center of the world. The armada soon arrived at the South Initiate Island Pier. Although it was only a pier, it was unusually lively as a small town, and ships were regularly docking at the pier. Hundreds of ships were waiting to dock, but the Wang family's armada did not follow the queue. They came to a row of free docks on the other side, which belonged to the Wang family. Naturally, they did not have to line up with others to wait to dock. After the ship was docked securely, Wang Mingyu, Wang Lu, and other senior officers of the armada disembarked one after another. As for the cargo, naturally, someone else was in charge of unloading. Yi Shiwen only then saw the masters hidden in the other cabins. There were 10 Transcendent Realm Level 3 masters. Wang Lu was most probably a Transcendent Realm 4th level master and was more overwhelming than those at Exine City. Yi Xuan didn't hesitate and got off the boat straight away. Wang Mingyu slowed down and waited for Yi Xuan to walk abreast with her. Then she said, "Brother Yi, if you haven't decided where you want to go, why don't you visit our Wang family first?" Before Yi Xuan answered, a slightly surprised voice came from in front of him. "Mingyu, you are back. I was worried to death. But fortunately, you are fine." Yi Xuan looked up to see a young man in his 20s dressed in a Chinese robe, who ran to Wang Mingyu's side eagerly. Wang Mingyu frowned and said, "Wu Chenhai, address me by my full name. I don't know you that well." Wu Chenhai? An impression suddenly appeared in Yi Zaiwen's mind. Wang Mingyu once told him that on this South Initiate Island, there were three major forces, which were the Wang family, Wu family, and the Yuan family. Each family had an outstanding young master. Wang Mingyu naturally headed the Wang family, and the young master of the Wu family was none other than Wu Chenhai. The youth in the Chinese robe, Wu Chenhai, smiled brilliantly. Then, he saw Yi Xuan next to Wang Mingyu, and his face immediately became gloomy. He said, "Who is this?" Yi Xuan could feel the intense hostility from him. "What does it have to do with you?" "You're too nosy," said Wang Mingyu coldly. Wu Chenhai's facial expression became even uglier. The way he looked at Yi Xuan was like a ferocious beast choosing someone to eat. Yi Zaiwen's eyes flashed with understanding. It couldn't be clearer that this Wu Chenhai was Wang Mingyu's suitor and had considered him a rival. This Wang Mingyu's reaction also surprised him. This kind of thing could be clearly explained in one sentence, but she did not do so and instead chose a more extreme method. However, Yi Xuan was just a little surprised. He didn't take it to heart. Even if he offended someone, even if he couldn't beat those Transcendent Realm Level 4 or Level 5 Masters, he was not worried about escaping for self-preservation. Chapter 836. Chapter 836. A fraud? Or does he have what it takes? I'm too nosy. Wu Chenhai sneered, but his icy gaze was directed at Yi Xuan. His gaze was full of resentment. "Boy, you better not have any relationship with her." Yi Xuan felt like he was caught in the line of fire. However, this Wu Chenhai's attitude disgusted him, so he just coldly said, "Busybodies." Yi Zaiwen's words made Wu Chenhai's expression fall entirely. A violent aura emanated from his body, which instantly enveloped Yi Zaiwen's body. "Wu Chenhai, what are you doing? Brother Yi is my friend. Are you going to cause a scene here?" Wang Mingyu shouted, standing in front of Yi Xuan. "Okay, I will show Mingyu some respect today, but this kid won't always be this lucky," said Wu Chenhai coldly in a threatening tone. After he finished speaking with a gloomy face, he turned and left. "If you have what it takes, go take part in the spiritual volcano slot competition in 10 days. I will kill you directly then." Behind him, an old servant followed him like a ghost. The two of them walked further and further away and were almost outside of the dock, when then the old servant said, "Master, won't the Wang family catch on?" "So what if they catch on? Ever since my eldest brother joined the Sea Dragon Mansion, the power of our Wu family has been increasing day by day. The Wang family also wants Wang Mingyu to join the Sea Dragon Mansion to reverse this situation, which is all the more reason we can't let them succeed. Otherwise, we may lose our advantageous prospect," Wu Chenhai said coldly. "For the spiritual volcanoes share this time, we must try to edge out the Wang family's slot completely. This way, it won't take a few times for the Wang family to decline. As for the Yuan family, they have backers. We have to accept them for a while and join forces with them to get rid of the Wang family first." "What about Lady Wang?" the old servant asked. "She's just a woman. Do they think I will get distracted by a woman? As for that bitch Wang Mingyu, I want her to surrender at my feet sooner or later," said Wu Chenhai coldly. Wang Mingyu disrespected him repeatedly, causing a ball of rage to grow in his heart. On the other side, Wang Mingyu said to Yi Xuan apologetically, "I'm sorry for dragging you into that. That Wu Chenhai is already accustomed to behaving overbearingly on South Initiate Island by relying on Wu family's power." "It's okay," said Yi Xuan. "But what is the spiritual volcano slot competition?" "It's like this. There is an intersection between a spiritual vein and a volcano in the ocean's depths. not far from South Initiate Island. Every 50 years, this volcano will erupt once. The volcano will spew out a large volume of spirit plasma. The spirit plasma is extremely high in temperature, but it also contains a huge amount of fire-type spiritual energy. If one can bathe in it, they will have a great breakthrough in their cultivation. A half-step transcendent realm warrior can even ascend into transcendent realm, and a transcendent realm master can go one step further, said Wang Mingyu, looking at Yi Shiwen. However, although this spiritual volcano has many benefits, it is also perilous. If one is not careful, even a transcendent realm master will be annihilated inside it. After countless years of exploration, the three major families finally discovered 10 safe locations. Among these 10 positions, the highest-ranked disciple among the three major families will get 4 locations. The 2 other families will get 2 each, while the remaining 2 are reserved for other individual cultivators on the island. Yi Shiwen pondered for a moment, then suddenly said, "Do you want me to help you fight?" Yi Shiwen finally understood. Seeing Yi Ziwen's realization, Wang Mingyi's face reddened. Now that her intentions were exposed, she suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "Yes, I heard that the 2 of them plan to join forces to edge out the Wang family. According to our intel, the Wu family also employed foreign masters. Still, when we got the news, it was already too late for us to employ powerful masters," said Wang Mingyu, her facial expression instantly returning to normal. She looked at Yi Shiwen a little expectantly. Yi Shiwen didn't think it was anything. He groaned and said, "If I help you in the competition, I want a slot." What he valued was the spiritual volcano slot. If he could get doused by this spiritual volcano, his cultivation should go further. With the many-star beast blood essence and bloodline sealed in his body, going further was not a problem, and he needn't worry about any after effects. As for Wang Mingyi's little idea, he didn't take it to heart. "Yi Shiwen, this is a great opportunity. You already have the foundation of the Star Beast Avatar's breakthrough, so your breakthrough in a short span of time will not have any problems at all. I'm only worried that the foundation is not stable, but if you can bathe in the spiritual volcano, your foundation will be solid enough. You won't need to worry at all. Supported GMO, that is not a problem. As long as Brother Yi can help us out, 1 slot is totally fine," said Wang said happily. What delighted her, even more, was that her judgment was right. This Yi Shiwen was different. She could hear strong confidence in his voice. If he were just a regular half-step transcendent realm, at this time he would be afraid that he might not be able to survive. Yet, he thought about being given a slot if they win. It showed that he was confident. If they didn't have Yi Ziwen's help this time, they would most likely suffer heavy losses. At best, they could obtain 2 slots by relying on the Wang family's reputation. On the contrary, if Yi Shiwen could help them win, even if they have to give Yi Shiwen a slot, they would still have 3. It was more worth it than the initial plan. "But I am not from the Wang family. Is that okay?" Yi Shiwen asked. "It's not a problem. Although you are not from the Wang family, you can still represent our Wang family in the competition," said Wang Mingyu. If Wang Mingyu was delighted, then Wang Lu was utterly shocked. Could he have misjudged? Was Yi Shiwen a hidden master like the lady said? The Wang family entourage soon returned to the Wang family's ancestral home in the city's east. Although it was said to be the ancestral home, it was practically a small town. Almost 10,000 people of the Wang family gathered here. It was like a small kingdom. Yi Shiwen was guided to a small courtyard, the wing room the Wang family used to entertain guests. After helping Yi Shiwen settle in, Wang Mingyu went directly to see her father, Wang Yanghua, the Wang family master. In Wang Yanghua's study, the patriarch, Wang Yanghua sat in the Lord's seat. He had a profound aura and was also an unfathomable master. He naturally would not be an ordinary master if he could lead the Wang family. "Sister Yu, I heard that you brought back a half-step transcendent realm boy today, right?" Next to Wang Mingyu, a young man dressed in Chinese garments in his 20s, said with slight displeasure on his face. "Mingyu, what is going on?" Wang Yanghua glanced at Wang Mingyu and asked. "Well, I intend to let him temporarily join our Wang family to represent the Wang family in the next spiritual volcano slot competition," replied Wang Mingyu faintly. "Oh, that's funny. A half-step transcendent realm boy? The young man said with a cold smile, as if he just heard some big joke. Sending a half-step transcendent realm warrior is completely useless. Mingyu, don't you know this? Wang Yonghua said, only looking at Wang Mingyu and ignoring the young man's cynicism. I can feel that he is powerful, said Wang Mingyu. So, I think if we invite him to take part, our chances of winning will increase a lot. If you feel, a half-step transcendent realm warrior can't contend with the transcendent realm no matter what. Even if he just stepped into the transcendent realm, he would be eliminated, the young man said with a sneer. Also, Sister Yu, when you put it that way, it seems that you don't trust the strength of our Wang family's masters and would rather trust a half-step, transcendent realm outsider. If this were the past, it would be fine. This time the Wu family has also invited 2 masters, both of whom are transcendent realm first-level peak. They are solid. Not to mention, they may be joining forces with the Yuan family. At this point, there is nothing we can do just by ourselves, and it is too late to get help from outside, said Wang Mingyu. Even if we can't get help from outside, we can't just find a random one. He's still half-step transcendent realm. This boy will take up one of our precious slots. Is the spiritual volcano slot something we can give out? The young man said, still adamant. If we fail, then there will only be 2 slots. If we win, even if we give him one, don't we still have 3 left? Wang Mingyu sneered, as if she was looking at someone who didn't understand simple arithmetic. If we win by ourselves, do we also have to give him the slot? The young man said with a sneer. Wang Feiyun. Wang Mingyu was a little angry. Do you think I lack basic judgment? We can't win by ourselves. Okay, stop fighting. Wang Yonghua finally spoke up. He glanced at the 2 of them, stern but not angry. Although it was you, Mingyu, who brought him back, you only have a gut feeling. After all, you didn't personally watch him battle, right? The spiritual volcano seat this time is vital to our Wang family. We can't let go of a single one. This relates to whether you can join the Sea Dragon Mansion, and whether the Wang family can contend with the Yuan family and the Wu family in the future. What Uncle is saying is, why don't I go test him? If he has what it takes, then sure. If he doesn't, he will be killed directly for daring to con our Wang family, said the young man, Wang Feiyun. I shall take my leave first. It's settled then, said Wang Yonghua. At this time, this was undoubtedly the safest approach. Seeing that Wang Feiyun had left, Wang Yonghua glanced at Wang Mingyu. He sighed and said, why can't you 2 get along? Chapter 837. Chapter 837. Who else is not convinced? Why can't you 2 get along? Looking at the 2 going head-to-head with each other, Wang Yonghua had quite a headache. Wang Feiyun could be considered an outstanding warrior in the clan. At a young age, he had already entered the Transcendent Realm. There weren't many people who could compare to him on South Initiate Island. In the clan, he was second only to Wang Yanghua's daughter, Wang Mingyu. In the past, Wang Yonghua wanted to encourage the marriage between these 2. Although Wang Feiyun called him uncle, they were not related. They had no other connection except for the Wang surname. The Wang family was extensive, and Wang Feiyun was a warrior from the side branch. The Wang family did not discriminate between the main branch and the side branch. In this world where the strong took advantage of the weak, these rules were necessary, but the family would decline if one blindly adhered to them. There was no point in discriminating between the side and main branches. In the face of absolute strength, the family would have to make way. There was no deeper meaning. The family's prosperity was above all else. But Wang Mingyu never caught feelings for Wang Feiyun since she was a child. While Wang Feiyun liked Wang Mingyu initially, the feelings gradually began to change as he became aware of Wang Mingju's attitude. It wasn't known when they started going head-to-head with each other like this. It would be fine if they just couldn't be coupled together, but if the 2 people Wang Yonghua regarded to be the 2 pillars of the Wang family's future keep going head-to-head like this, even he couldn't help but have a headache. It's not that I want to go head-to-head with him, but he is constantly picking on me, said Wang Mingyu dissatisfied. What he said is not wrong. A half-step transcendent realm being equally matched with an average transcendent realm first level is already unbelievable. Let alone Wu Qinhai, or Yuan Shuehai of the Yuan family. They are both the best of the best among Transcendent Realm first-level masters. If they get to bathe in the spiritual mountain this time, they will undoubtedly be able to enter Transcendent Realm's second level. At that point, maybe even they will have the opportunity to join the Sea Dragon Mansion. And that is the real trouble, said Wang Yanghua. It wouldn't hurt to let him try out. Don't go anywhere for the next few days. Stay at home with a peace of mind and prepare for the battle, said Wang Yanghua. Yes, replied Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen was in the house. He had just calmed down and was planning to cultivate when there was a loud noise outside the courtyard. Where is that half-step Transcendent Realm boy? Where is he? He seems to be in this yard. How dare he come to our Wang family to deceive us? Is he looking for death? That's right. He's just a half-step Transcendent Realm. Yi Shiwen quirked the corner of his mouth and sneered. He immediately figured out why. Yi Shiwen sprinted out of the house directly, but saw that a group of dozen young people had swarmed into the yard. The leader was Wang Feiyun, the person who wanted to test Yi Shiwen. Are you Yi Shiwen? Said Wang Feiyun as he squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen didn't speak and just looked at Wang Feiyun mildly. How arrogant. Didn't you hear Brother Yin talking to you? Wang Feiyun hadn't spoken yet, but a young man who couldn't stand it rushed up and shouted. I already know your intentions for coming here. Whoever is unconvinced, just come here. Yi Shiwen said casually as if he did not consider these people worthy. Yi Shiwen clearly understood these people's intentions for coming. It was nothing more than assuming that he was just a half-step Transcendent Realm and not qualified to represent the Wang family. Isn't that Wang Feiyun? Why did he come here? Wang Feiyun and his people's actions quickly attracted a lot of attention. Isn't that the person, the young lady, brought back who says that he will compete on behalf of our Wang family? This Wang Yunfei is quite displeased. Even if it were me, I wouldn't allow it. On what grounds can a half-step Transcendent Realm compete on our Wang family's behalf? If other people find out, they will think that our Wang family has no one worthy, so we even sent a half-step Transcendent Realm. No. Now, typically only Transcendent Realm masters dare to compete. If it is not restricted and only the younger generation gets to compete, I am afraid that the level is even higher. But since it was the young lady who brought him back, it means that he must have what it takes. The young lady is not a rash person. Everyone was discussing it. You are just a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate warrior. What are you so arrogant for? A young warrior in his 20s stood up and looked at Yi Shiwen viciously. A violent aura emanated from him. It turned out that he was already a half-step Transcendent Realm late master. No wonder he dared to face Yi Shiwen. The warrior felt that Yi Shiwen was disregarding them, which was the biggest insult to them. Suddenly, a palm shot out like lightning, directly penetrating the void and appearing in front of Yi Ziwen's face. He transformed his palm into claws, and a swift eagle claw technique reached out directly. Only at this moment did Yi Shiwen finally move. He only made a move after the opponent. In an instant, a pale palm reached out and slapped the swift eagle claw technique. Boom! There was a loud sound of impact, accompanied by the sound of bones breaking. The young warrior just screamed. His entire arm was broken on the spot by the shockwaves of the enormous force. You wretch! Wang Feiyun's face suddenly fell. His eyes were uncertain, and his expression was a little pinched. He did not expect that his subordinate would be so powerless in Yi Ziwen's hands. Unexpectedly, you do have some strength, but it can only end here, Wang Feiyun roared. An extremely pure and powerful qi instantly overflowed, faintly enveloping Yi Shiwen. As the Wang family genius, second only to Wang Mingyu, Wang Feiyun was not without justification. His strength was quite overwhelming. He had entered Transcendent Realm first-level peak. Even if he was not as good as Wang Mingyu, he was undoubtedly a second-tier top master, right below Wang Mingyu and others. Arcs! Wang Feiyun shot out his hand directly. Return to the cloud hand. His anger came from his heart. With this attack, he did not hold back at all. His figure leapt out directly with his big hands spread out. There was a faint cloud aura lingering above his palms, revealing how strange and mysterious it was. This was the Wang family's lost technique. Learning this return to the cloud hand was a privilege that only belonged to a handful of people in the Wang family. Wang Feiyan's palm was wrapped in a layer of cloud aura. It was a little strange and erratic, as if the entire sky was the return to the cloud hand, yet it also didn't seem to exist. There was no way for people to tell whether the return to the cloud hand was real or not. A weak-willed warrior would have passed out straight away. Wang Feiyan's shot was swift, but Yi Xiwen's speed was even faster than his. Yi Shiwen also attacked at the very same moment. Boom! Another staggering impact sound echoed the battlefield. Yi Xiwen's fist hit Wang Feiyan's palm directly. Wang Feiyan was surprised to find that his erratic palm momentum was instantly seen through by Yi Shiwen. In fact, the primary feature of the Wang family's return to the cloud hand was that the erratic palm momentum was tough to see through at once. It was impossible to decipher its path. Once one saw it, Wang Feiyan would have already hit you. But this Yi Shiwen could see through it with one glance, as if he didn't have to think. What shocked him even more was that Yi Shiwen obliterated the cloud aura covering his palm completely, leaving only dust behind. However, Yi Shiwen did not wait for Wang Feiyan's shock to wear off. With his other hand, he pierced through the void at lightning speed and performed a hand chop on Wang Feiyan's chest like lightning. Boom! Another muffled sound could be heard. Wang Feiyan was seen flying out on the spot. He spurted a mouthful of fresh blood in midair, showering the sky. What? How is this possible? Everyone was utterly shocked when they saw this scene. They almost thought they saw it wrongly. Wang Feiyan was not only the top genius of the Wang family in addition to Wang Mingyu. His cultivation had already entered Transcendent Realm first level peak and could enter the second level at any time. If the Wang family only received 2 slots to bathe in the spiritual volcano, it would be Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyan. They were also the pillars of the Wang family's future and may even take over as the Wang family master in the future. But now, Wang Feiyan couldn't even handle one of Yi Xiwen's moves. Yi Shiwen didn't even use any remarkable martial arts, but just one ordinary attack completely defeated Wang Feiyan. If such a scene should happen, it should be Wang Feiyan defeating him in one move. And most importantly, Wang Feiyan was already Transcendent Realm first level peak, and Yi Shiwen was just half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate, not even half-step Transcendent Realm peak. How could this not be shocking? If Yi Shiwen defeating a half-step Transcendent Realm late in one move could be considered a genius fighting someone above their levels, defeating Wang Feiyan, who was above him in level, was no longer something within their understanding. Between half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate and Transcendent Realm first level peak, there was a massive gap between the two power realms. How can this Yi Shiwen be so scary? I have never seen such a terrifying half-step Transcendent Realm. It's no wonder that the young lady said that he was going to represent our Wang family in the battle. He is mighty. Indeed, this person is so powerful. Our Wang family has hopes of winning this time. Over the years, the Wu family and Yuan family joined forces to suppress our Wang family. While they took turns to win the championship and trained a large number of masters, they are shameless. Yes, this year we have a chance to keep our chins up. With the young lady, plus this Yi Shiwen, there is hope for winning the championship. It's hard to say. Didn't the Wu family and Yuan family also employ masters this time? They also came prepared. Who else is not convinced? Yi Shiwen asked coldly, glancing at the crowd. Chapter 838. Chapter 838. The arena begins for a moment. Everyone was silent. This Yi Shiwen was too strong. It was simply outrageous. They never thought that a half-step Transcendent Realm Master could defeat a Transcendent Realm Master in such an overwhelming manner. It was beyond their imagination. At that moment, the moods of everyone in the Wang family was too complicated. It was because Yi Shiwen defeated Wang Feiyan, the Wang family's pride. They should hate him, but after 10 days, Yi Shiwen would still be representing their Wang family to take part in the competition to contend for slots. Whether the Wang family could get 2 more slots, this time depended on Yi Xiwen's performance. If the Wang family failed, it would naturally have little effect on Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyun because those two slots definitely belonged to them. But for the others, this was an excellent opportunity. If the Wang family failed, they would not have a chance, but if the Wang family succeeded, even if Yi Shiwen took a slot, wasn't there still one more left? It was precisely because of this that their feelings toward Yi Shiwen were very complicated. But regardless of whether they liked or disliked Yi Shiwen, the fact that Yi Shiwen defeated Wang Feiyun in one move spread quickly, and the Wang family was shocked. That can't be true. Wang Feiyun was defeated in a single move? This is simply a preposterous story? Could it be that an old Transcendent Realm 3rd or 4th level monster was the one who attacked instead? No, he's not even a young master. He's just a half-step Transcendent Realm kid. Half-step Transcendent Realm? This is impossible. The gap between half-step Transcendent Realm and Transcendent Realm is a world apart. It is impossible for him to contend with a Transcendent Realm, let alone defeat one in a single move. But this is the case now. The Ancient Baron's mainland is so vast. In the Limitless Sea region, who knows how many monstrous geniuses there are? It is not surprising that someone can do it. But in any case, this Yi Shiwen is to represent our Wang family to contend for slots. The stronger he is, the better, isn't it? Immediately, the Wang family was thoroughly heated up like boiling water. In fact, the person Yi Shiwen defeated was not an average person. Although Wang Feiyun was slightly inferior to Wang Mingyu, it was only by a small margin. Among the younger generation of the Wang family, he ranked second, and even many of the masters from the older generation were not on par with him. It would be different if it had been a hard fight to defeat Wang Feiyun, but to trounce him, this was far beyond the Wang family's imagination. Under normal circumstances, the numerous senior officials in the Wang family would feel that this was a slap in the face and would not leave the matter at that. However, now they were in a completely different mood because Yi Shiwen was to battle on their behalf, so naturally, the stronger, the better. However, because of Wang Feiyun's crushing defeat, no one else was stupid enough to trouble Yi Shiwen. Even if Wang Feiyun was not as good as Wang Mingyu, he was still far more powerful than the others. Even Wang Yunfei was defeated in a single move, let alone them. This person was too terrifying and was not someone they could handle. Amid the uproar, 10 days passed quickly. In Yi Zaiwen's small yard, he was deducing a set of seemingly unremarkable punches over and over again. His body was soaked with sweat, especially his forehead, densely covered in beads of sweat. Yi Zaiwen's current body was already unaffected by typical hot and cold. Even a temperature of several hundred degrees couldn't make him sweat a bit, let alone sweat all over his body. Huff, this is still no good. Yi Shiwen opened his eyes and exhaled. Qi circulated through his whole body, and all the sweat on his body evaporated. Ever since he came to the Ancient Baron's mainland, Yi Shiwen felt that many of the martial arts he learned now seemed a bit outdated, including the Shattered Star Fist that he was famous for and had been using to battle for many years. Even so, Shattered Star Fist was still very powerful. Even in the Transcendent Realm, it was still a mighty punch, but it no longer had the power to end the battle like it used to. Yi Shiwen wanted to create a new move using the original Shattered Star Fist as a base. But even with the mysterious space constantly deriving the inspiration in his mind, there was still not much progress. Maybe there was not enough time or opportunities. It was not that easy to create a move that could kill a Transcendent Realm with one blow. But fortunately, he didn't need to worry too much for the time being. Whether it was Demon Wings, Phoenix Regeneration Technique, or overturning the Heaven Seal, he had not been overwhelmed yet. Among these martial art techniques, Demon Wings was the Demon King's movement technique at that time. Naturally, it was unpredictable. Also, the Phoenix Regeneration Technique and the Overturning the Heaven Seal were two lost techniques that were inseparable from the Thousands Demon Beast Island, where the Beast Emperor resided. This Meteor Explosion move is still a little lacking, but it is only a prototype. Yi Shiwen was a little distressed. He named this new killer move Meteor Explosion. The principle behind it was the terrifying force generated when a star exploded. Any enemy could become annihilated. It just seemed that he was still missing an opportunity. Yi Shiwen had the mysterious space and Mingxin ancient tree, which were two great tools for enlightening. Despite so, he couldn't learn it in a short time. It was definitely not that simple to create a martial art technique. If he continued close cultivation, he should be able to derive it. It was nothing more than consuming more spiritual energy. For Yi Shiwen, who had a dragon vein, this was not a problem. He did not have that much time because the spiritual volcano slot contest had already begun. There was the sound of footsteps outside the yard. After a while, a group of people appeared outside Yi Ziwen's yard. The leaders were Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyun. There were two other young people with equally arrogant faces behind them, whose cultivation had already achieved Transcendent Realm first level. Although they were slightly inferior to Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyun, they were all extremely talented from Yi Ziwen's perspective. When he thought about the size of true martial school, there were only a handful of talented ones among the younger generation. Of course, if Mu Xingjie came to the ancient Baron's mainland, he would probably have broken into Transcendent Realm a long time ago, maybe even break through a few levels consecutively. Seeing Yi Shiwen, Wang Feiyun's gaze flickered a little. His feelings were similarly very conflicted. Facing this person who defeated him in one move, he didn't even know how to describe this feeling in his heart. It was like an arrogant frog who had suddenly been told one day that the sky it knew was only as big as a well. It was equivalent to a slap to his face, hot and painful, but he had no other options. Compared to Wang Feiyun's complicated emotions, Wang Mingyu did not have so many qualms. She was the one who brought Yi Shiwen back. The better he performed, the happier she would naturally be. It also proved how accurate her vision was. "Brother Yi, have you been resting well for the past few days?" Wang Mingyu said with a smile. And Yi Shiwen nodded. He hadn't rested for a day in the past few days. He had spent his time deriving meteor explosion. "Let's go." Yi Shiwen knew why they had come. It was to ask him to take part in the contest for slots. In the contest for slots on South Initiate Island, the three prominent families, which included the Wang family, Wu family, and Yuan family, had sent 5 masters from the younger generation each. Besides them, there was no limit on how many other individual cultivators could take part. However, no matter how many individual cultivators participated, there were only 2 slots for them in the end. The 3 prominent families already monopolized this spiritual volcano. If not for the fear that the public would revolt, they would not even give up those 2 slots. In the earliest days, it was an internal competition between the 3 prominent families. The winner would obtain 4 slots while the 2 losers would only get 3 slots each. Later, the 3 prominent families' actions incited dissatisfaction among many individual cultivators on the island, resulting in several big conflicts. The 3 prominent families were forced to compromise. This time, the Wang family sent 5 people. In addition to Wang Mingyu, Wang Feiyun, and Yi Shiwen, there were 2 other outstanding warriors from the Wang family, Wang Feilong and Wang Xian. The competition was held in the center of the city this time, not in any place that belonged to one of the 3 prominent families. The arena was already set up. Anyone could go and sign up as long as they wanted to. In the end, victory was decided based on who was crowned champion among the 3 prominent families. Therefore, it was useless to send more people. If one won, they could take up to 4 slots, no more. This was a compromise between the 3 prominent families, so the 3 prominent families sent their family's most elite masters. This grand event only happened once in decades, so it attracted countless people from South Initiate Island. Even martial arts masters nearby rushed to South Initiate Island as early as possible. The city was noisy with voices. Masters from all walks of life gathered, among which was no shortage of Transcendent Realm first-level masters. However, all of them shared one characteristic. They were all from the younger generation and were under the age of 500. Those older than that were not allowed to join. The 3 prominent families had masters on site to keep watch. A young appearance meant nothing, but one's bone age could not be faked and was impossible to falsify. Compared to a 5,000 years old great sage, a Transcendent Realm lived an even longer life. Those under 500 years old could indeed be considered the younger generation. But only the ancient barons' mainland could gather so many transcendent realm masters under the age of 500. In the true martial domain, Huang Wuji was over 1,000 years old when he broke into the transcendent realm. In the middle of the city, 10 arenas were set up. Among these 10 arenas, whoever could last till the end would enter the final top 10. If individual cultivators occupied more than 2 slots among the 10, they would have to battle it out to decide on the final 2 people. There was no other way. Compared to the 3 prominent families, their strengths were far behind. "Mingyu, you're here!" An eager voice came from afar. Everyone looked up only to see Wu Chenhai walking over quickly with several young masters from Wu family in tow. Chapter 839. Chapter 839. The Wang family? Completely ignored. Wu Chenhai walked up to the Wang family's group eagerly. When he saw Yi Shiwen, his facial expression soured a little, but it only soured a little before it returned to normal. Wang Mingyu didn't grace him with a welcoming face and just glanced at Wu Chenhai coldly. Whether it was the grievances between the Wang family and Wu family or Wu Chenhai's actions, she felt extremely annoyed by him. Seeing that Wang Mingyu ignored him, Wu Chenhai just chuckled. He then looked at Wang Feiyun and said, "Wang Feiyun, I heard that you were defeated again? TSK. It seems that the Wang family doesn't have masters anymore." Wang Feiyun's face became slightly ashen. He looked at Wu Chenhai as if he wanted to eat him, for no reason other than because Wu Chenhai once defeated him. At that time, when he was just half-step transcendent realm, he tried to challenge Wu Chenhai, one of the 3 top talents from the younger generation on South Initiate Island. His cultivation had always been closely behind these 3 geniuses, but he didn't feel that he was weaker than them. He just felt that he became famous a little late, so he had gone and challenged Wu Chenhai. He didn't expect that before he could execute 10 moves, he experienced a crushing defeat in the hands of Wu Chenhai. This was the biggest humiliation of his life. It was even more humiliating than being defeated by Yi Shiwen in 1 move. After all, Yi Shiwen was not his enemy. It was far from the humiliation he felt when Wu Chenhai defeated him in 10 moves. From then on, did he truly understand that even though they were in the same realm, the gap between them was vastly different. Compared to Wang Mingyu and Wu Chenhai, there was still a vast gap between him and them. "We don't need your Wu family to stick your noses in our Wang family's affairs," said Wang Mingyu coldly. Although she wasn't on very good terms with Wang Feiyun was still way better than the annoying Wu Chenhai. As if he was already used to Wang Mingyi's cold words, Wu Chenhai ignored Wang Mingyi's remarks and said, "I will introduce you. This is Jia Qing from Sea Dragon Mansion." When he heard that our spiritual volcano was about to open, Brother Jia came to help the Wu family. Wu Chenhai directly introduced the man behind him, who had an arrogant expression and appeared to be 27 years old. Upon hearing this, the faces of the Wang family disciples suddenly soured. This Jia Qing was a disciple of Sea Dragon Mansion. "What kind of force is this Sea Dragon Mansion?" Yi Shiwen asked Wang Mingyu through a voice transmission. He noticed that everyone in the Wang family seemed to be very afraid of Sea Dragon Mansion. Sea Dragon Mansion is one of the 3 dominant forces in our Flourish Cloud Sea region, including our South Initiate Island. We are all under the jurisdiction of Sea Dragon Mansion. Sea Dragon Mansion is full of masters. Every young master in this sea region experts aims to join Sea Dragon Mansion. I initially planned to wait until I got to bathe in the spiritual volcano to break through into Transcendent Realm 2nd level and then join Sea Dragon Mansion. Without hiding anything, Wang Mingyu told Yi Shiwen some information about Sea Dragon Mansion. Yi Shiwen took a deep breath. Even someone like Wang Mingyu had to try their best to join. Even South Initiate Island, which produced many Transcendent Realm Masters, were under its jurisdiction. The power of Sea Dragon Mansion was hard to imagine. No wonder the Wang family people were so afraid they heard Jia Qing was a Sea Dragon Mansion disciple. Like in true martial domain, it was similar to how those individual cultivators talked about true martial school disciples. It was not just because of the deterrence of the true martial school itself. It was more about how in true martial school, Whether in terms of cultivation resources or the various martial arts lineages, the individual cultivators were far from being on par. Compared to a behemoth like Sea Dragon Mansion, the three prominent families were no different from individual cultivators. More importantly, Jia Qing's cultivation seemed to have just ascended to Transcendent Realm second level. His vibe was still a bit unstable. It was leaking out and not concealed at all. It was much stronger than Wang Mingyu and the others. They expected the Wu family might have invited powerful help from outside. Still, they didn't expect that they could invite a Sea Dragon Mansion disciple and a Transcendent Realm second-level master at that. This time, their Wang family was in jeopardy. The confidence they had because of the power Yi Shiwen displayed suddenly disappeared. They didn't think Yi Shiwen could compete with a Transcendent Realm second-level master. Wu Chenhai looked at the Wang family's soured expressions with glee. He thought, if the spiritual volcano wasn't about to open, how could they have invited Jia Qing? Because once Jia Qing bathes in the spiritual volcano, he can stabilize his Transcendent Realm second-level cultivation immediately and even enter Transcendent Realm second-level peak in one go. He will be able to enter the Transcendent Realm third level at any time. Only this persuaded Jia Qing to join the Wu family's side. Although they were reluctant to give up one slot, it didn't matter. As long as they could suppress the Wang family, it would all be worth it. It seems that your Wang family is going to be at the bottom again. After all, you have lost the championship 10 times in a row. TSK, said Wu Chenhai with some disdain. Everyone in the Wang family instantly became even angrier. Still, they couldn't say a word because they had indeed failed to win the championship 10 times, which resulted in getting a whole 20 slots less than the Wu family and the Yuan family. If it continued for a more extended period of time, they would only decline further. By then, self-preservation would become a problem, let alone maintaining their position as one of the three prominent families. There is no proof. You still only know once we have a real battle. Wang Mingyu snorted coldly. Is a battle still necessary? I want to win the championship this time. Before Wu Chenhai could speak, Jia Qing, who stood beside Wu Chenhai, sneered and said with an arrogant expression. Even though Wang Mingyu was a famous genius on South Initiate Island, he didn't take her seriously. He came from a well-known sect. He was a Sea Dragon Mansion disciple, and his cultivation crushed everyone present. From his perspective, naturally, a battle was unnecessary. You better not come into contact with me. Otherwise, my fists do not discriminate. I couldn't care less if I injure you severely. Everyone in the Wang family was infuriated. This was blatant scorn. Jia Qing did not take the Wang family seriously at all and even scorned them. Wang Mingyu was about to fight back when suddenly a noise came from the distance. Yuan Xuehai is here, someone yelled. Everyone looked over and saw a tall, young man dressed in blue stride to the Yuan family's dais. His temperament was icy, like an iceberg, as if he wanted to freeze people from one glance. He is my opponent. Jia Qing just looked at Yuan Xuehai coldly, his expression becoming a little excited. On South Initiate Island, he finally met an opponent worth battling. The Wang family, who had been ignored directly, were outraged. You guys just do your best. Wu Chenhai chuckled. He led the Wu family's people straight in the direction of the arena. Asshole, he's too arrogant. He didn't take our Wang family seriously at all. Damn it, we have to show them what we're made of. Compared to the outrage of the Wang family's ordinary disciples, Wang Mingyu and the others had slight concern on their faces. Jia Qing had already entered Transcendent Realm second level. Since Jia Qing named Yuan Xuehai as his opponent, could Yuan Xuehai have already entered Transcendent Realm second level? Thinking of this, Wang Mingyi's facial expression suddenly changed. Among the three young masters on the island, she, Wu Chenhai, and Yuan Xuehai were called the Three Heroes. The Three Heroes' cultivation had always been equal, but Yuan Xuehai might have unexpectedly entered Transcendent Realm second level, one step ahead of them. This made her feel a little anxious. And if Yuan Xuehai had entered Transcendent Realm second level, this competition might not involve the Wang family. They might have to face their 11th defeat. By then, the Wang family's disadvantage would only increase. By then, they might not be part of the three prominent families anymore. She turned back to glance at Yi Shiwen, but saw that he was still indifferent. From time to time, his eyes would turn blank, as if he was thinking about something. She couldn't help but feel a little depressed, while Yi Shiwen was not worried about anything. But when she thought about it, she found it a little funny. Well, Yi Shiwen was not from the Wang family anyway, so why would he get upset about this kind of thing? He could shake it off and leave. Everyone in the Wang family quickly headed toward the arena. At that time, many people were battling in the 10 arenas, but they were mostly individual cultivators and no strong masters. And if the other disciples of the 3 prominent families felt that they were strong enough, they could also participate. However, no matter what the final result was, it only came down to the 3 prominent families' results. The families would not get an extra slot from the other disciples' achievements. For the disciples of the 3 prominent families, this was also an opportunity to distinguish themselves. If they could surprise everyone in the arena, they might receive attention and training from the 3 prominent families' senior officials. At that point, they would soar to the sky. Now, those in the arenas were mainly the individual cultivators. None of the masters from the 3 prominent families had entered the arena. Among the individual cultivators, besides the powerful ones aiming for spiritual volcano, there were also some whose goal was to attract the 3 prominent families' attention to join the family. If they became the family's guest or a teacher, they could enjoy the 3 major families' resources. Then, they could save effort worth hundreds or thousands of years. Among these individual cultivators, none of them were compelling. They were half-step transcendent realm. Occasionally, there were 1 or 2 great sage masters who could defeat a half-step transcendent realm masters, which impressed people. That said, there was nothing very dazzling about them at all. After another hour, the many individual cultivator masters who should go up in battle had already finished battling. After that, masters from the 3 prominent families appeared one after another. Naturally, the scene escalated to a greater height. The 3 major families' representatives were still waiting, seemingly waiting for the perfect opportunity to take the stage. Chapter 840. Chapter 840. Wu Chenhai attacks. Wang Feiyun, come and fight me if you dare. A loud shout came from Yuan family's master seat. Then, a yellow figure jumped out from the Yuan family's master seat and flew directly onto the stage. Everyone stared intently. It was a young man dressed in a khaki robe, wielding a 3-foot sword in his hand. His gaze was sharp, piercing straight through the void to look at Wang Feiyun. The Wang family disciple, who was in the arena, felt quite awkward. He didn't know what to do or whether he should stay or not. He just defeated an opponent. At this time, just as he was full of spirits, he didn't want to face off with a transcendent realm master directly. Although this Yuan family master had only just stepped into the transcendent realm, a half-step transcendent realm warrior could not be compared to him. Come back. You cannot beat him. Wang Feiyun sighed. He took a step forward, and his figure leapt out. In the next moment, he already appeared in the arena. The Wang family disciple breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Wang Feiyun come up, but he was also a little frustrated. He hadn't gotten enough limelight before he had to make his exit, but there was no other way. The 2 had already surpassed the transcendent realm, and he couldn't contend with either of them. He could only retreat with a bitter smile. No way. It only just began, but the Wang family's Wang Feiyun has already taken the stage. It's too early. Yes, Wang Feiyun ranked 4th in the last arena. He is also a famous master from the young generation on our island. He is taking the stage so early. Let him, as long as we get to see an interesting battle. Yuan Xueqing, I didn't expect you to have surpassed the transcendent realm in under 10 years. Wang Feiyun glanced at the Yuan family master mildly. It's all thanks to you. The young man, Yuan Xueqing, said with a bit of hatred. I also didn't expect that it would be a blessing in disguise. And now I can even enter transcendent realm. But even if you enter transcendent realm, you can't contend with me. So, just admit defeat, Wang Feiyun said lightly. Although he might not be as good as Wang Mingyu, it was just wishful thinking for a person who just entered the transcendent realm to want to defeat him. Asshole, don't be too arrogant. Yuan Shueqing yelled violently. His eyes became fierce, and a thick chi swept out like a tide and headed toward Wang Feiyun. Chong! The long sword in his hand flashed with silver light and pierced the vast sky. It blasted toward Wang Feiyun. His body followed the sword, and his figure leapt out instantly. It was swift. Everyone only felt their eyes blur, but his long sword had already reached Wang Feiyun. Many warriors in the audience with weaker cultivation can't help but exclaim. Their cultivation was too low to see through the sword momentum of this move. There were many Transcendent Realm Masters in the three prominent families, but for most people, a Transcendent Realm Master was 1 in a million, a pitiful number. At that moment, Wang Feiyun moved instantly. He instantly shot out, returned to the cloud hand. Majestic cloud aura sputtered out in an instant, colliding heavily with the long sword. The majestic cloud aura and the sword chi shot out unimaginable sparks in the air. Wang Feiyun's return to the cloud hand directly blocked his offense. There was no way to penetrate his cloud aura. Dang! 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 Wang Feiyun transformed his palm into claws and immediately grabbed at his opponent. There was a crisp sound of steel shattering. The long sword in Yuan Zicheng's hand, together with its sword chi, was snapped off. Boom! A low sound was heard in the arena. Everyone saw Wang Feiyun deliver a kick. Yuan Shueqing didn't know how many of his ribs had been broken. His body was like a kite with a broken string. It glided in a beautiful parabola in the sky and rolled out of the arena directly. Everyone realized that even though he had been utterly defeated by Yi Shiwen and rendered unable to fight back, it didn't mean that he was too weak, but that Yi Shiwen was too terrifying. Especially the masters of the Wang family. They knew more about the battle between Wang Feiyun and Yi Shiwen than the outsiders. Others only know that Wang Feiyun was defeated again. As for how he was defeated, they didn't have the slightest clue, but the Wang family knew that the battle between Wang Feiyun and Yi Shiwen only lasted for 1 round. Yi Shiwen defeated Wang Feiyun just as easily as Wang Feiyun defeated Yuan Shueqing. Hearing everyone's astonished mutterings, Wang Feiyun felt a sense of pride. Over the past 10 days, he kept getting criticized by the Wang family because he lost to Yi Shiwen. Many people didn't understand how terrifying Yi Shiwen was. They just saw that Wang Feiyun was defeated in a single move. All kinds of nasty rumors about him spread throughout the family. It was precisely for this reason that he chose to take the stage just after a slight provocation from his opponent. It was to prove to others that he was not incompetent, but that Yi Shiwen was just too strong. Although he might not be pleased about Yi Shiwen right now, he had to acknowledge Yi Ziwen's strength. Now you people have seen it. Yuan Shueqing reluctantly got up from the ground. He shot a vicious look at Wang Feiyun and said, "I will challenge you again. Who else wants to come up and get schooled?" Wang Feiyun said to everyone with clasped hands. Many masters in the audience who had initially planned to go on stage and try suddenly changed their minds. Initially, a master like Wang Feiyun and Wang Mingyu should not appear until the last few rounds. Wang Feiyun unexpectedly appeared so early today, reducing many people's desire to battle. Let me try you." A sneer came from Wu family's seat, and a figure flew onto the stage. It was none other than Wu Chenhai. What's going on here? Why are these young masters rushing up there one by one? In the past, didn't they have to wait until the finale? Everyone was shocked to see Wu Chenhai appear. They didn't know what was happening. These young masters were coming out one by one, which was beyond everyone's expectations. Yes, and these young masters would often avoid each other's arenas, each guarding one arena, and then wait until 10 places are determined to have another battle. Now they are rushing down one by one? Could it be that something happened? It is said that this time the Wang family invited a disciple of Sea Dragon Mansion to help. They are aiming to win the championship this time. Speaking of which, the Wang family has already lost 10 times in 500 years. During this period, the Wu family and Yuan family have been taking turns to win the championship. But this time will surely be interesting. This Wang Feiyun is the strongest master besides the 3 young masters. He lost to Wu Chenhai in 10 moves last time, but his cultivation must have improved to an unbelievable point after 50 years. He might even beat Wu Chenhai. I'm not optimistic about him. As he improves, would Wu Chenhai remain in the same spot? Also, I heard that he lost again, this time to a guest of the Wang family. It's you. Wang Feiyan looked at Wu Chenhai coldly. His eyes were cold and murderous. Why? You don't dare anymore? Sneered Wu Chenhai. What's there to be scared of? I'm just thinking about getting my revenge, said Wang Feiyan coldly. There isn't even the need for Brother Jia to appear today. I alone can suppress all your Wang family's master, said Wu Chenhai arrogantly, his hands behind his back. He did not take the young masters of the Wang family seriously. As soon as those words were uttered, there was an uproar. Especially the many elders of the Wang family who were watching the battle also suddenly became angry. Arrogant, maniac, arrogant brat. Many elders were enraged. The three prominent families had been abreast for a long time. For such a long period of time, it was naturally impossible to remain evenly matched. The three major families had their own moments of weakness, but generally speaking, there was still room for each other. For example, each family's young masters would try not to appear in the same arena to avoid a duel between two powerhouses. They also tended to wait until the top 10 was decided first before determining the winner and losers. Wu Chenhai's actions were clearly a slap in the face. Who didn't have moments of weakness? To them, doing this was an act of extreme arrogance. Wang Huayang sat high above on the family master's seat. His expression was unchanged, but one could tell that he was also angry by looking at his tightly clenched fists. Unlike the anger felt by the Wang family, the elders on the Wu family all thought it was only natural. How arrogant! Don't forget, you were defeated by Sister Yu last time, Wang Feiyun sneered and said. He was also burning with rage. Shut up! Wu Chenhai's expression changed. To him, that was the biggest stain on his life. Whether or not I'm arrogant, you will know if you try. Wu Chenhai moved instantaneously. He suddenly rose from the ground, lifting his long legs. Like a meteor, he aimed a kick at Wang Feiyun in an instant. He was swift, almost as fast as lightning. Wang Feiyun immediately stretched out his big hand that was covered in clouds and mist. He directly launched Return to the Cloud Hand's most powerful killer move. He knew very well how terrifying the Wu Chenhai in front of him was. Wu Chenhai was the terrifying master he couldn't beat despite using all his tricks. Boom! The two sides collided with each other in the void. The deep sound of impact against flesh quickly spread. Scattered energy swept in all directions. Wu Chenhai took a small step backward, but then suddenly kicked out again. In the void, like a white rainbow, he aimed a hard kick at Wang Feiyun. Chapter 841. Chapter 841. Shocking attack. Wu Chenhai's leg technique was strong and powerful, just like a dragon. He easily broke through Wang Feiyun's Return to the Cloud Hand and was abnormally relaxed. Wang Feiyun's facial expression gradually soured. It looked like he pushed Wu Chenhai back, but in actuality, his strongest move could only force Wu Chenhai back. Boom! 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 One side excelled at leg techniques while the other excelled at palm techniques. They fought together in the void. Both sides exchanged blows in haste, so fast that ordinary people could not see them and could only hear a muffled sound of breaking through the air. He's going to lose. In the seat, Yi Shiwen suddenly spoke. Who is going to lose? Asked Wang Mingyu. Wang Feiyun is going to lose, said Yi Shiwen. Why? Wang Mingyu asked. She naturally knew that Wang Feiyun could not contend with Wu Chenhai, but so far, Wang Feiyun didn't seem to be losing badly. Why did Yi Shiwen determine that Wang Feiyun would lose here? The reason is simple. You didn't realize that Wu Chenhai is controlling the pace of the entire battle, said Yi Shiwen. Wang Mingyu thought about it. It was indeed the case. The entire battle was mostly under Wu Chenhai's control. Although they were both Transcendent Realm First Level, Wu Chenhai was far more powerful than Wang Feiyun. Wang Feiyun has used up his moves. He already used his most powerful killing move. There doesn't seem to be anything else that can threaten Wu Chenhai. So after Wu Chenhai probes further on the limits, he probably won't hold back anymore. Yi Shiwen explained for his own sake. From his perspective, everything was self-explanatory. That Yuan Shuetching from earlier had just entered the Transcendent Realm first level. But Wang Feiyun was already Transcendent Realm first level peak, so Wang Feiyun defeated Yuan Shuetching in one move. However, Wu Chenhai was stronger and definitely had the strength of a sect master, including Wang Mingyu. They all had the combat power of a sect master. Although the gap did not seem big with the difference pertaining to the word peak, it was enough to decide the winner. The two finally stopped. Wang Feiyun was gasping slightly, while Wu Chenhai had a small smile on his face. Wu Chenhai laughed coldly and said, "If you're only this strong, then my next kick will cripple you." Wang Feiyun took a deep breath and said, "Just come at me. With just one kick, it'll cripple you." Wu Chenhai sneered. He instantly lifted his leg, and countless spiritual energy around him was set in motion. The spiritual energy formed a huge vortex in front of him, unleashing a terrifying power. Wang Feiyun's expression suddenly changed. He felt his whole body freeze. Even the air was frozen in place, and he could not move at all. It was just a moment, but against a top master, it was enough to be fatal. Not good. Wang Feiyun's expression changed suddenly. Instantly, the qi all over his body surged. Clouds gathered in his hand, wrapping it in layers of cloud aura. He used his hand to protect his body. Boom! There was the dull sound of impact against flesh. Wu Chenhai's kick directly pierced through the void and landed Wang Feiyun's hands that were protecting his chest. The cloud aura wrapped around Wang Feiyun's hands was also kicked away in an instant. Crack! A clear and loud fracture sound was heard, and Wang Feiyun let out a scream as his body flew out horizontally. He spurted out a mouthful of blood. His body somersaulted in the sky a few times. Then he fell to the ground harshly and lost consciousness straight away. "Feiyun! Brother Yun!" At that moment, everyone in the Wang family cried out in exclamation. Unexpectedly, the two elders quickly went down and moved Wang Feiyun. The crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect that Wang Feiyun, who seemed so fierce just now, actually got so seriously injured by only one kick to the point where it was unknown whether he was alive. This Wu Chenhai is much more terrifying compared to 50 years ago. 50 years ago, he was not a transcendent realm yet. But 50 years later, today, not only has he broke through to transcendent realm and his combat power is so terrifying. It's unbelievable. Yes, they're both transcendent realm first level, but the gap in strength is vast. Are the three major young masters so powerful? He went too far. This was just a learning opportunity, but Wu Chenhai was so cruel. An elder of the Wang family retorted as he checked Wang Feiyun's injuries. Both of Wang Feiyun's arms were crippled straight away from the kick. Even if he was a transcendent realm master, his physical body was far better than an ordinary warrior, and his recovery ability was also much more potent than an ordinary person's. However, to recover from these injuries would take more than a year. There might be even internal injuries left behind. Martial arts don't discriminate. What's so strange about it? If you're afraid of getting hurt, then don't take part. An elder of the Wu family disagreed with this opinion and sneered. You damn it! The Wang family's elders were furious. Wang Mingyu was about to stand up and go down to face the battle, but she was stopped by a hand pressing her back to the seat. A clear voice said warmly, "You don't have to go. Leave it to me." She turned her head to see that it was Yi Shiwen who stood up from his place. "Since I have received your family's benefits, leave the rest to me." Yi Shiwen smiled faintly. There was only a faint smile on that not very handsome face, but it was very heartwarming. Wang Mingyu was taken aback, and then she nodded. She couldn't give a reason, but she simply trusted Yi Shiwen. Initially, she wanted to make Yi Shiwen the trump card, but now it seemed impossible. Yi Shiwen, this treasured sword, was about to be unsheathed. Yi Shiwen tapped his toes lightly, and his figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the second arena like a breeze. "This time, let me be your opponent," said Yi Shiwen said plainly. "It's you? Good, very good," Wu Chenhai said. looking at Yi Shiwen with slight ferocity. I was going to look for you. I didn't expect you to show up. It's nothing more than a matter of sooner or later, said Yi Shiwen calmly. Light flashed in Wu Chenhai's eyes. For him, this Yi Shiwen was a target to kill. For this kid, Wang Mingyu even shouted at him. Although he didn't care about Wang Mingyu the way he pretended to, Wang Mingyu was already predetermined to be his woman, and he would never allow her to have feelings for others. Since you are now in the arena, then it's life and death, and it's up to the heavens. Wu Chenhai sneered. Don't blame me when you die. As they say, if one pays me, I will save them from disaster. Initially, after receiving benefits from the Wang family, I only planned to cripple your hands with a kick, but it seems that it is far from enough. Yi Shiwen said and sighed. You're courting death. Wu Chenhai finally found a reason why he hated this kid from the very beginning. It was his tone, his facial expressions, that kind of indifference mixed with a little disdain, as if Wu Chenhai didn't deserve to contend with him at all. This kind of expression made Yi Shiwen very annoying because only Wu Chenhai could treat others like this. No one had ever dared to show him this kind of expression, so he hated Yi Shiwen from the beginning. Violent wind kick. Wu Chenhai sneered and immediately unleashed a kick. The shadows of his leg were all over the sky. Even ordinary people couldn't see where the shadows were. Compared to the fight against Wang Feiyun just now, he had become even more overwhelming. Clearly, he didn't use his full strength when he fought against Wang Feiyun just now. The primary essence of the violent wind kick was speed. It was faster than others, even faster than wind. In an instant, the gust from the kick formed a huge storm, which instantly swept towards Yi Shiwen. Everyone was a little stunned. They didn't expect Wu Chenhai, who had been hiding his strength just now, to attack with all his strength. Was this Yi Shiwen a mighty opponent? To force Wu Chenhai to use all his strength to defend himself. Oh, I suddenly remembered. This is that Yi Shiwen. There are rumors in the Wang family that this Yi Shiwen defeated Wang Feiyun in one move. No wonder Wu Chenhai is going all out. What? How is it possible? No matter how weak Wang Feiyun is, it is impossible to lose in one move. This is something Wu Chenhai, one of the three major young masters, can't do. Yes, this rumor spread from the Wang family. I didn't believe it before and thought the Wang family was joking, but now that I think about it, it might be true. Someone instantly exposed Yi Zaiwen's identity and instilled doubt in everyone's hearts. Only they didn't know that the reason why Wu Chenhai went all out was because he hated Yi Shiwen. He wanted to go all out to beat him to death on the spot. Killing Wang Feiyun might incite intense backlash from the Wang family, but Yi Shiwen was just a guest. If he died, he died. It didn't mean anything at all. At that moment, Yi Shiwen moved. Compared to Wu Chenhai's stormy leg techniques, Yi Shiwen raised his leg and launched it in a very ordinary way, without any leg techniques. It was just a regular kick. But with his kick, bursts of loud noises came from the sky. He kicked the air so hard it completely exploded. Wherever he passed by, the air exploded completely, and space began to twist violently. What? Wang Mingyi's eyes were extremely shocked. She couldn't believe what she saw. Although the cultivation environment in ancient Baron's mainland was much better than that of true martial domain, space was far sturdier than true martial domain. Yi Shiwen could easily break apart the space in true martial domain, but it would be impossible in this ancient Baron's mainland. So even if one was a transcendent realm master, one could only break the air. But using martial arts to break the air was not the same as the power from Yi Zaiwen's simple kick. He broke the air with one kick, without using qi or any martial arts, with just a simple kick. What level of strength and speed would make this possible? The current Wang Mingyu couldn't possibly do it. With just one attack, Yi Shiwen announced his decisive strike. Chapter 842. Chapter 842. Crippling Wu Chenhai with a kick. Yi Zaiwen's attack shocked all the experts. Boom! The kicks from both sides slammed into each other in midair. Yi Zaiwen's leg wasn't wrapped in any qi, but it seemed to have the armor penetration effect. Where Yi Zaiwen's leg passed by, The storm that Wu Chenhai ignited all dissipated, kicked away by him. After kicking away the storm that covered the whole sky, Yi Shiwen went straight for Wu Chenhai's chest with the same force. Wu Chenhai abruptly tapped his toes and retreated to the sidelines, narrowly dodging Yi Ziwen's leg whip. There was a cold sweat dripping down his back. His expression was slightly stunned. Then it became solemn. He stepped back just now to avoid Yi Ziwen's leg whip entirely out of instinct. Now that he thought about it, the subconscious action just now was the right one. Just a simple kick broke the air. This kind of power and speed was simply unbelievable. If he got kicked directly just now, even if he survived, he would be crippled. He finally understood that Yi Shiwen was not nobody whom he could flatten and roll into a ball, but a fierce tiger that could threaten him. I really can't let my guard down for a single moment. Wu Chenhai pretended to be relaxed, but he already increased his vigilance to the highest level on the inside. He regarded Yi Shiwen as a strong opponent. Just now, he wanted to kick Yi Shiwen to death on the spot out of hatred, but now he had to go all out. You are worthy of making me attack you. Are you just interested? Yi Shiwen smiled. Wu Chenhai didn't answer and just walked up step by step. Thick qi spread out in all directions, and together with a monstrous momentum, a terrifying storm swept out. He enveloped himself in it, appearing like a miniature walking storm. When he walked less than 3 feet in front of Yi Shiwen, he immediately kicked up a strong attack. His leg technique was like swifty wind. Every kick out was like a hurricane and as fast as lightning without losing its dominating nature. The destructive power of the terrifying storm was completely reflected in the gust from his kick. In an instant, the sky was full of the shadows of his legs and storms, sealing up all the space for Yi Shiwen could use to escape. He was about to kick Yi Shiwen to death and didn't plan to hold anything back. Wu Chenhai wants to go all out. Isn't this the last move in violent wind technique, Mighty Storm? Yes, that's right. This is Mighty Storm. They said he learned this move under the stormy conditions at sea. Once he attacks, it will be a completely airtight and complete slaughter. Although it is a wide-range attack, every kick can easily kill a Transcendent Realm first-level master. Everyone in the audience was discussing it. They were stunned. Wu Chenhai had been famous for many years. Actually, many people already knew some of his moves, but they just knew it. Sometimes just knowing was useless. Even if they knew, the only 2 people who could withstand Mighty Storm was only Yuan Xuehai and Wang Mingyu. The others didn't necessitate this trick at all. Facing such a terrifying leg technique, Yi Shiwen didn't even blink an eye. He suddenly lifted his leg and kicked out. It appeared to be a simple kick, but it once again broke the air easily. Everywhere it passed, the leg shadows in the sky exploded in an instant. Not a single storm could rush to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen was like a small boat facing the monstrous waves. It seemed like he might lose at any time, but in the eyes of true experts, he was not in any danger at all. Yi Ziwen's leg whip didn't look fast at all. It just seemed like a strong and heavy force, but just this leg whip that wasn't even covered in qi became an airtight protection for his body. No matter how Wu Chenhai attacked, it was useless. It was impossible to hurt him. Many people were secretly surprised that Yi Shiwen was clearly stronger than they thought. At worst, he was on the same level as Wang Mingyu and Wu Chenhai. And in the arena, Wu Chenhai, who had been taking the initiative all this time, was suddenly anxious. He understood that although it seemed like he had always been taking the initiative now, the fact was almost none of the storms he kicked up in the sky could threaten Yi Shiwen. They couldn't even get close to Yi Shiwen, let alone threaten his life. If this continued, he himself would be defeated out of exhaustion. This mighty storm was mighty and had a broad range, but it also consumed a lot of qi. He was not like Yi Shiwen, who could be regarded as a beast wearing human skin. His qi could not last. And he also knew that although this kind of scattered attack seemed powerful, it was only good for group attacks. When only facing one master, its power was divided. He made a decision immediately. His figure instantly rose from the ground and leapt into midair. He stirred up storms all over the sky, and all the surrounding spiritual energy was extracted in an instant, forming a giant leg shadow in the sky, turning into a massive storm about to crash on Yi Zaiwen's body. Boom! There was a loud bang, and the entire arena shook slightly. These arenas were continuously strengthened by generations of masters from the three prominent families and were very difficult to destroy. Otherwise, the previous attack would have been enough to destroy the entire arena. Even so, the terrifying blast stirred up wind and sand in the sky, and the flying sand and rocks covered in energy were swept in all directions. At that moment, the onlookers could only hurriedly activate their aura barrier to block the flying energy and sand from outside. Although this energy was only shock waves, it even severely injured some great sages. How terrifying! What an overwhelming move! Countless people were amazed. The power of this move was too strong. Fortunately, it was all directed at Yi Shiwen. Otherwise, if the move had been directed at any of them, they would have been killed on the spot. What happened? What happened? Is Yi Shiwen dead? People anxiously want to know the answer. He should be dead. Such a terrifying blow. If it were me. No, he is not dead. The wind and sand gradually dissipated. Everyone saw a strange sight. Wu Chenhai's leg whip hit 3 inches in front of Yi Zaiwen's face and was blocked by Yi Zaiwen's hands. Wu Chenhai couldn't get close to Yi Shiwen at all. He's too strong. This Yi Shiwen is too strong. Wang Mingjia's eyes couldn't control the shock. When she brought Yi Shiwen back, she never thought that Yi Shiwen would be a top master superior to the 3 major young masters. Maybe others couldn't see it, but she could. Because her and Wu Chenhai's strengths had always been on par, she could naturally tell that Wu Chenhai had gone all out with that move just now. But even though he used all his strength for that blow, it could only force Yi Shiwen to defend himself. Seeing such a large gap, Wang Mingjia's beautiful pupils constricted, as if she had seen some incredible miracle. She could tell that Yi Zaiwen's real prowess was in his hands, while he only knew a few simple basic leg techniques. But he still used a leg technique to face the enemy. How confident was he? Or how arrogant? Was this meant to be a slap in Wu Chenhai's face? Or the Wang family's? Then I will make it a slap in your face. Isn't your leg technique your pride? I just broke your leg technique directly with a straightforward leg technique. Now you aren't qualified to be proud of it anymore. Therefore, even if Wu Chenhai attacked with Mighty Storm, he would simply use a leg whip to face the enemy. Although Wang Mingyu hadn't known Yi Shiwen for a long time, she knew that Yi Shiwen was not an arrogant and domineering person. There was only one reason for doing this. Perhaps it was as Yi Shiwen said that he would take care of their disasters if he got paid. This time, Yi Shiwen didn't just have to defeat Chenhai, but also harshly tarnish the Wu family's reputation. And Wu Chenhai's most decisive killing move was only able to force Yi Shiwen to launch an attack. This gap in strength might be even greater than the gap between Wang Fiyun and Wu Chenhai. Was he really just a half-step transcendent realm? Wang Mingyu was a little skeptical. If this was only the half-step transcendent realm, then she felt extremely incompetent. On the other side, Jia Qing, sitting at the Wu family seats, was a little moved when he saw this scene. He finally stopped focusing all of his attention on Yuan Xuehai. On Yuan Zuhai's side, there was a slight surprise in his eyes, and then a hint of fighting spirit swept through them. The people at the side all felt this way, let alone Wu Chenhai, who was in the middle of the arena. He immediately felt that Yi Shiwen was not using his full strength. He immediately felt the despair Wang Feiyun felt when they fought just now. It made it hard for him to catch his breath. It was the despair felt when in the face of an opponent who was practically impossible to defeat. "Don't be arrogant," Wu Chenhai yelled with fury. The thought of Yi Shiwen daring to underestimate him and not show his true strength enraged him. He transformed his figure in midair and immediately relaunched an offense. He swept up leg shadows that filled the sky and rushed toward Yi Shiwen. It was a pity that Yi Zaiwen's speed was faster. He kicked out his leg whip again, but this time it was no longer just for defense. It went straight through the boundless leg shadow storm. Wherever it passed, the leg shadow storm flattened one after another. Yi Zaiwen's leg whip was like a raptor from the abyss, and it instantly kicked Wu Chenhai in the chest. Boom! There was a dull muffle, and Wu Chenhai let out a scream. His body was like a cannonball, flying back to the direction he came until he fell to the ground. No one could tell whether he was dead or alive. Everyone saw that Wu Chenhai's chest had caved in. Obviously, all the ribs on his chest had been instantly broken by the kick. The livestock is courting death. For a mere test of strength, how dare you act so violently? In the Wu family seats, a terrifying figure instantly leapt out. Chapter 843. Chapter 843. Tip of the iceberg of Yi Ziwen's power, an overwhelming aura enveloped Yi Shiwen. If he were slightly less powerful or had a weaker mentality, fear would render him motionless. Transcendent Realm 5th level? Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes, and an imperceptible blood-colored glimmer enveloped his body. The aura seemingly soared to the sky, couldn't even get into contact with Yi Ziwen's body. Isn't this cultivation similar to that of the city, Lord of Xian City? Stop! From the Wang family's seat, a figure leapt out. It was the Wang family master, Wang Yanghua, who instantly stood in front of Yi Shiwen and stopped that person's offense. Only then did Yi Shiwen see that man's appearance. That man was a graceful middle-aged man who resembled Wu Chenhai slightly. Wang Mingyu had introduced that man to him just now. It was Wu Nanjie, the current Wu family master, who was one of the current strongest top masters on South Initiate Island, and also Wu Chenhai's father. "What's the matter, Wang Yanghua? Do you want to protect him?" said Wu Nanjie, staring coldly at Wang Yanghua. "How can this be called protecting? Did you forget what you said earlier? A saber does not discriminate. Anything can happen during a duel. If you are afraid of getting hurt, then don't take part." Wang Yanghua said this lightly, but on the inside he felt smug. When the Wu family said that it made the Wang family feel so aggrieved, they couldn't say a word because there was nothing wrong with the Wu family's statement. But now the situation was reversed. Instead, it was the Wang family who was saying this. This was not only a harsh retaliation, but also a slap in the Wu family's face. Didn't you arrogantly use this as an excuse just now? Let's see what else you have to say now. Wu Nanjie just forcibly held back his anger. At this time, there was nothing he could do. He wanted to kill Yi Shiwen by surprise while everyone was not paying attention. By then, the Wang family would be furious, but would they turn against the Wu family over an outsider kid? Moreover, although Wu Chenhai's hatred for Yi Shiwen angered Wu Nanjie, the real reason he had to kill Yi Shiwen no matter what was because of the slot contest. Yi Shiwen was so powerful that he felt threatened. Wu Chenhai was already an outstanding figure in Wu family, but he had been easily defeated as if it was a game. The Wu family wouldn't be able to find anyone else who could suppress Yi Shiwen. If they couldn't completely suppress the Wang family, then wouldn't all their efforts over the years be in vain? This was the main reason behind Wu Nanjie's action, who knew that Wang Yanghua had also been staring at Wu Nanjie all times, as if he knew what Wu Nanjie was thinking, and had immediately leaped out to stop Wu Nanjie. Yi Shiwen was also slightly surprised. Although he was very confident that even if he couldn't beat Wu Nanjie would not be able to catch him, he didn't expect Wang Yanghua to appear in time. However, this was also a good thing. It was better to show fewer trump cards. For him, whether it was the Demon Chi Bomb, the speed of the Demon Wings, or the recovery speed of the Phoenix regeneration technique, these were the few trump cards he could use to roam the ancient Baron's mainland. The others were not good enough. Wu Nanjie shot a fierce glare at Wang Yanghua and Yi Shiwen, and then returned to the Wu family seats. He sent Jia Qing a voice transmission. "Junior nephew Jia, it's time for you to take action. As long as you can kill Yi Shiwen, then our Wu family will reward you generously. Except for the spiritual volcano slot, all other remunerations will be doubled." As soon as Jia Qing heard this, he immediately became serious. Right now, he cared about the spiritual volcano slot. Still, he might not care about it 50 years later, because bathing in the spiritual volcano was only useful for people below the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. After the 3rd level, the effect was not pronounced, so the 3 major clans only used it to train new people. 50 years later, his cultivation might have long surpassed Transcendent Realm 3rd level, so naturally, he was not interested in it. But what about the other rewards? He was interested. Those would be useful no matter what cultivation. Of course, even if it's for the sake of Senior Brother Wu's teachings at Sea Dragon Mansion, I also can't watch this person behave arrogantly to the Wu family. Leave it to me. I will make him pay for how he crippled disciple Wu. Jia Qing said with a cold smile on his face. TSK, he's mighty. Even with Wu Qinhai's strength, nothing could shake him. What level of strength has he reached? It's simply unimaginable. Yes, Wu Qinhai is not a weakling. Despite how powerful Wang Feiyun is, he still suffered a crushing defeat in Wu Qinhai's hands. But the crushing defeat Wu Qinhai suffered in Yi Zaiwen's hands was no better than how badly Wang Feiyun was defeated. Yes, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe that it could be so terrifying. When you put it that way, the news that came from the Wang family may have been true. Wang Feiyun couldn't even stop one of Yi Zaiwen's moves. Seeing that Wu Nanjie and Wang Yanghua had returned to their seats one after another, it was as if the lid of the pot had been blown off. Everyone immediately began to discuss it, whether it was by how Wu Qinhai had easily defeated Wang Feiyun or about how Yi Shiwen had easily defeated Wu Qinhai just now. They all felt astonished. They were all Transcendent Realm 1st level peak, but there was such a vast difference in strength. This Yi Zaiwen's strength could already compete with a Transcendent Realm 2nd level. While everyone was still discussing, Jia Qing leaped directly into the arena. In the next battle, let me play with you. Jia Qing looked at Yi Shiwen with slight amusement, as if he was also trying to figure out how a half-step Transcendent Realm could compete with a Transcendent Realm Master. Enjoy your last few breaths in this world. You might not get the chance to later, said Jia Qing a little impudently. He did not take Wu Qinhai's easy defeat just now to heart, because he would be able to do so too. Arrogant, said Yi Shiwen coldly, but his gaze became solemn. It was because he could feel how threatening Jia Qing was, unlike Wu Qinhai just now. The difference between Wu Qinhai and Jia Qing was too great. When he was in true martial domain back then, the Star Beast Avatar had defeated and killed many people in this caliber of strength. But now, he was facing a real Transcendent Realm 2nd level master. He had integrated the Star Beast's flesh and blood and was confident that he could handle weaker Transcendent Realm 2nd level warriors. But this was his guess. In a real battle, he didn't know how true that would be. However, it only became solemn. This Jia Qing was not a life-threatening nemesis. He had the Phoenix regeneration technique. As long as he wasn't facing an enemy that could kill him in one move, he wasn't too concerned. Arrogant? You won't be saying that in a moment, sneered Jia Qing. Suddenly, a long saber appeared in his hand, and the sky shook with a clang. The moment the long saber appeared, Jia Qing's figure suddenly moved. The long saber shot out instantly, his body following the blade. In an instant, he pounced on Yi Shiwen. The long saber in his hand released a saber aura that turned into an endless monstrous wave in midair, and it hurtled toward Yi Shiwen. Brother Yi, be careful. This is a famous Sea Dragon Mansion saber technique called wave-breaking saber technique. The sword momentum is hard to match. At that moment, Wang Minji's heads-up sounded in Yi Zaiwen's ear. Only then did he know that this saber technique was called wave-breaking saber technique. So what if you know it? Watch how I destroy you. Jia Qing didn't care that others knew about his saber technique. This saber technique was not top secret. Many people at Sea Dragon Mansion knew it too. It was nothing to be secretive about. Jia Qing's offense was harsh. He didn't hold back at all. He was aiming to eradicate Yi Shiwen in one fell swoop. The saber aura covering the sky turned into monstrous waves, gaining speed as they approached Yi Shiwen. Their force was so great that they could blast a mountain to absolute pieces. A long sword suddenly condensed in Yi Zaiwen's hand. It was wholly condensed from sword will. He yelled softly, "Burial sword!" Clang! 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 The swords made rattling noises. The long sword in Yi Zaiwen's hand instantly formed many light swords out of thin air in the void. They suddenly gathered together like a long river and slammed into the monstrous aura ahead. Boom! Yi Zaiwen's sword river directly blasted a massive hole into the monstrous saber waves, which then collapsed. The saber shadow was utterly destroyed. Jia Qing suddenly became serious too. He didn't expect that Yi Shiwen could conjure such a terrifying sword momentum. In the fight just now, he couldn't even really see Yi Zaiwen's offense, or rather, he didn't understand Yi Zaiwen's strength. His estimation of Yi Zaiwen's strength was just a faint guess. After all, Yi Zaiwen's combat power far exceeded what he showed on the surface, so it was difficult for people to judge his combat power according to his power realm. At the moment Jia Qing's saber shadow collapsed, Yi Shiwen slammed his toes nonstop, and his figure leaped out fiercely and instantly appeared beside Jia Qing. Jia Qing was also worthy of stepping into the Transcendent Realm second level, and his reaction speed was several times faster than Wu Chenhai's. In the battle between Yi Shiwen and Wu Chenhai just now, although Yi Shiwen had been the one leading the battle, the one who kept attacking was Wu Chenhai. Yi Shiwen just kept dishing out his tricks and then defeated Wu Chenhai with one counterattack. Wu Chenhai didn't even have time to react. But now Jia Qing could respond in time to Yi Zaiwen's speed. He was worthy of being Transcendent Realm second level. Although Yi Shiwen did not have the demon wings open now, he was already swift. Boom! Jia Qing lifted the saber and blocked Yi Zaiwen's sword will. Chapter 844. Chapter 844. Severely injured Jia Qing. Boom. 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 Yi Zaiwen's silhouettes and Jia Qing's silhouettes were like two ghosts shuttling back and forth at high speed in the arena. Except for the major family's elders above Transcendent Realm second level, others couldn't even see traces of the two people fighting. Basically, they could only hear the explosions from constant collisions. It's terrifying. I'm afraid these two people's strengths are already enough to settle the slot contest this time. This is terrifying. Even in the Sea Dragon Mansion ranking tournament, they can rank in the top 100. I didn't expect that this round would end up like this. Everyone seems to be unleashing their fire, not holding back at all. One by one, they went down to the same arena. Did these three major families go all out to win? They don't even care about their reputations. Yeah. But Wang Mingyu and Yuan Shuahai have not taken the stage yet. The Yuan family is still calm, but the Wu family and Wang family are already in a heated battle. I'm afraid they can't be friendly with each other anymore. The two families invited these guests from outside. They are truly top masters. Yes, the most terrifying one is that Yi Shiwen. He's just a half-step Transcendent Realm, but he's unexpectedly able to compete with a Transcendent Realm second level. Such a person would be a monster wherever he goes, and I don't know where this monster came from. It wouldn't matter even if Wang Mingyu and Yuan Shuehai took the stage. Victory will probably be decided between these two. At most, they are as strong as Wu Chenhai. It wouldn't matter even if Wu Chenhai came down from the arena. Anyway, no matter what, this matter has nothing to do with us. This is the three major families' matter. No matter which one of them wins, they will not give us another skit. Who cares about him? Let's enjoy the show. Everyone was trying to fix their sights on the two people fighting in the field, but their eyes could no longer keep up. Only by using spiritual sense could they see some shockwaves from the battle. You are quite powerful to be able to contend with me with only half-step Transcendent Realm strength. You are the most powerful genius I have ever seen, but it is useless even if you are a genius. An undeveloped genius is nothing but an upcoming corpse. Jia Qing said with a cold smile as he cut off Yi Zaiwen's offense with one slash and caught a breather. In his opinion, Yi Shiwen definitely couldn't fight for a long time in this kind of battle. This was because even if he didn't use much effort in the previous fight against Wu Chenhai, he was still just half-step Transcendent Realm. He could make up his combat power in various ways, but the innate gap in the power realm was a lethal factor at that moment. In any case, a half-step Transcendent Realm Master couldn't compete with a Transcendent Realm second level in terms of chi volume. If this continued, he would make Yi Shiwen die of overconsumption sooner or later. Although he also wanted to kill Yi Shiwen swiftly and did not want it to end like this, there was no other way. Yi Shiwen was too strong, far stronger than he thought. Otherwise, he had no hope to overwhelm his opponent in the short run. On the inside, he was too shocked. He didn't know which family this monster belonged to. He was this terrifying, a half-step transcendent realm. Being able to compete with a transcendent realm second level was simply a miracle and utterly unbelievable. Even if I am underdeveloped, it's enough to get rid of you. Yi Shiwen sneered, slowing down from Jia Qing's offense. The battle was changing directions from a rapid pace to a drawn-out battle. Yi Shiwen knew what Jia Qing was planning. However, if Jia Wing were planning to keep fighting until Yi Shiwen exhausted his qi, then it would be a huge mistake. After absorbing the Star Beast's blood essence and bloodline, he was practically a Star Beast in human form now. In terms of qi, he had more than Jia Qing, a Transcendent Realm second-level master, and not less. This was where his confidence lay. Even compared to a Transcendent Realm second-level master, he was not inferior. Stop exaggerating. My next move will get rid of you. Jia Qing yelled loudly. After fighting for a while, Jia Qing finally confirmed that Yi Shiwen probably did not have much qi left. Boom! Following his words, a monstrous qi from Jia Qing's body swept out in all directions. The terrifying momentum of Transcendent Realm from his body also began to target Yi Shiwen. People around them felt the air freeze and did not know what to say. Jia Qing is about to go all out. Can Yi Shiwen block it? After Yi Shiwen easily defeated Wu Chenhai previously, they began to have hope in winning the championship, especially the Wang family members in the audience. Naturally, they didn't want Yi Shiwen to fall here. At that moment, everyone was worried for him. Get rid of me in one move? Yi Shiwen grinned. Very well. Let's decide who wins with one move. Inside Yi Ziwen's body, a burst of golden divinity covered his whole body. Looking from a distance, he looked as if he was wearing a golden robe. He had immense power and was about to go all out. What kind of martial arts is this? Yi Ziwen's changes immediately attracted the attention of many onlookers. Naturally, they all noticed the golden robe that Yi Shiwen wore, but it was precisely that piqued their curiosity. They did not know what martial arts Yi Shiwen was practicing. What powerful martial arts? Wang Mingyu murmured while looking at Yi Shiwen. Compared to other people, her sight was naturally much better. Naturally, she knew that it was Yi Ziwen's martial techniques for physical training that could create such an anomaly. But it was precisely because of this that she was even more astonished. She did not imagine that it would turn out like this. Yi Shiwen had not truly revealed his trump cards just now. In other words, Jia Qing did not have the power to force Yi Shiwen to reveal all his trump cards. She had reason to believe that this was probably not Yi Ziwen's trump card either. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken it out so quickly, but this wasn't important. What was important was what was Yi Ziwen's limit. It seemed like he had no limits. No matter how strong the opponent was, it was difficult to force him to reveal his actual limits and trump cards. Since the beginning, Yi Shiwen had never gone all out. He was testing his baseline. Undoubtedly, his combat power was far beyond the limit that Transcendent Realm's first-level peak could attain, and he was even more overwhelming than the original Star Beast avatar. However, he didn't know exactly how strong he was. He estimated that he was able to contend or even defeat a weak Transcendent Realm second level. And this Jia Qing had just entered Transcendent Realm second level. Although he was much stronger than Transcendent Realm first level in terms of strength, he was at the bottom among Transcendent Realm second level warriors. That was why he was so desperate to get a spiritual volcano slot. As long as he could bathe in the spiritual volcano, he could even reach Transcendent Realm's second level peak in one go, granting him the chance to enter Transcendent Realm third level at any time. By then, everything would be different. But for Yi Shiwen, everything would be the same. He had seen through Jia Qing's flaws. Jia Qing's body swelled with aura more terrifying than before. Under his feet, a monstrous wave suddenly emerged. The waves were not condensed with saber aura, but real water vapor in the sky that had gathered here. Everyone suddenly felt that the air became abnormally dry. It was universally known that there was very little water vapor in the air. Hence, the humidity plummeted. Now, Jia Qing could capture the water vapor and form a monstrous wave. Who knew how much water vapor had been drawn from how many miles away? It was terrifying. The wave-breaking saber technique he cultivated was a saber technique he had learned on the sea. The more water around him, the more powerful it was. Since he was above the sea, the power would be amplified by a quarter or two. That was why Jia Qing used his qi to extract the surrounding water vapor to form this monstrous wave. Jia Qing stepped on the monstrous wave and looked at Yi Shiwen coldly. The waves under his feet were increasing in size, but they were all under his control. Yi Shiwen, your name is Yi Shiwen, right? You're pretty good to be able to fight with me until now. However, I want you to understand that the transcendent realm is transcendent realm. If you haven't entered the transcendent realm, you're a nobody. Jia Qing said coldly, his face slightly ferocious. His arrogant attitude from before, when he didn't take Yi Shiwen seriously, had long since disappeared. Wave-breaking technique. Jia Qing yelled violently, instantly waving the long saber in his hand. A glow sparked from the long saber instantaneously. It then expanded in the void together with the wind, growing extremely big. It exuded swift waves that madly swooshed. The surrounding space began to boil like boiling pond water, twisting itself. In front of this terrifying force, it was still boiling. The glow instantly shot out, besieging toward Yi Shiwen. Everyone exclaimed in shock, all marveling at the wave-breaking technique. Can Yi Shiwen still handle this move? The Sea Dragon Mansion disciple is not to be underestimated. This martial technique is far from being comparable. This trick could even destroy a Transcendent Realm second-level warrior on the spot if he were not careful. Then, I will show you the way nobody counterattacks. Yi Shiwen sneered. Almost all the qi on his body condensed into a line on the long sword. Invincible sword. Facing the overwhelming saber aura, Yi Shiwen chose to move with his sword, turning into a cold light that pierced through the saber aura covering the sky. At that moment, time seemed to freeze and then shattered in an instant. Boom! A terrifying energy swept out in an instant, forming a massive energy ball. It spread in all directions, setting off countless flying sand and rocks. PFF. A figure flew upside down, spurting out a mouthful of blood. It was Jia Qing. Chapter 845. Chapter 845. Yuan Zihai's strength. Jia Qing spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell directly from the huge energy wave. He almost fainted straight away, but his will stopped him to faint like this. What? How could this be? Said Jia Qing with difficulty. His piercing gaze stared at Yi Shiwen, who showed himself with slow steps. It was a little unbelievable. Why would he, a dignified Transcendent Realm second level, lose to Yi Shiwen, a kid who was only a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate, not even late? Yi Shiwen didn't even look at him, let alone answer his question. In fact, not only did Jia Qing find this incomprehensible, but even the others found it hard to fathom. How could Yi Shiwen, a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate kid, actually beat a Transcendent Realm second level? Even if Jia Qing had just entered Transcendent Realm second level, he was still a real Transcendent Realm second level. For them, it was simply hard to understand. But for Yi Shiwen, it was not the case because he noticed Jia Qing's fatal flaws. Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique strength was indeed extraordinary. It was undeniably powerful. Unfortunately, his cultivation time seemed to be too short. One could see that there were many parts of the move that hadn't been cultivated to perfection. It was precisely because of this that Yi Shiwen could find the flaw and the opportunity to strike. He found the chink in Jia Qing's armor and concentrated all the power from his body to break Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique's scattered power. Initially, the wave-breaking saber technique was more potent in group battles, but even if an ordinary person knew about this weakness, they wouldn't be able to break it either. Only people like Yi Shiwen, whose physical body was robust enough in addition to having absorbed the Star Beast's power, could instantly destroy Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique after he completely unleashed his power. Everyone looked dumbly at Yi Shiwen, who had defeated Jia Qing, as if they had seen a ghost. They all gasped. From the moment he appeared, this half-step transcendent realm intermediate kid gave them a great surprise. It was like he had no limits. No matter what kind of enemy it was, it seemed like there was no way to force him to his limits. Yi Shiwen ignored Jia Qing, who was waiting bitterly for him to explain. He just looked at Yuan Xuehai and the Yuan family seats. Everyone knew that his target was Yuan Xuehai. Yuan Xuehai was the most outstanding genius of the Yuan family and also one of the original 3 young masters. He was even considered the leader of the 3. Everyone also understood that the fight for champion would only be between Yuan Xuehai and Yi Shiwen. No matter who won, that person would be the champion. As for Wang Mingyu, no one thought that she could be the champion. Suppose Yuan Xuehai won, whether she fought or not would make no difference. If someone as terrifying as Yi Shiwen couldn't win, then it wouldn't matter if she, who had never beaten Yuan Xuehai before, went up there. Conversely, if Yi Shiwen won, then the Yuan family would no longer be able to send out a strong master who could match Yi Shiwen. So the only possibility was Yi Shiwen winning the championship. This battle between the two of them was the most critical. After this one battle, the slot contest would end. However, could Yuan Xuehai contend with Yi Shiwen? Everyone was a little worried, especially those in the Yuan family. In fact, although Yuan Xuehai was stronger than Wang Mingyu and Wu Qinhai, it was only by a little. He was only a tad bit stronger. Generally speaking, they were still at the same level. To defeat the other two, Yuan Xuehai still needed a lot of effort. But Wu Qinhai, who was about as strong as Yuan Xuehai now, was rendered unable to retaliate under Yi Ziwen's offense. Would Yuan Xuehai be able to contend with Yi Shiwen? Even Jia Qing, who everyone was optimistic about, suffered a crushing defeat in Yi Ziwen's hands, and Yuan Xuehai would not fare any better than them. If the battles hadn't started, everyone would probably be optimistic about Yuan Xuehai. After all, Yuan Xuehai had been famous for many years, but no one knew Yi Shiwen. But now, everyone was optimistic about Yi Shiwen because Yi Shiwen was far too powerful. He was so powerful that no one thought he had already gone all out. Yuan Xuehai saw Yi Shiwen staring at him, and without any hesitation, he directly leaped into the arena. There was the same coldness in his gaze as he stared at Yi Shiwen. He was like a vast ice mountain, unfathomable by others. "It'll wait for half an hour for you to recover your qi," said Yuan Xuehai lightly. Yi Shiwen had just fought a battle, and Yuan Xuehai didn't want to take advantage of him. In that case, it wouldn't be a fair victory. Yuan Xuehai dared to say such a thing. Maybe he has some trump cards? He must have some trump cards. Look, that Yi Shiwen is also more serious than ever. He must know something? Could he be stronger than Jia Qing? Upon seeing Yuan Xuehai say that, everyone immediately began to discuss. At that time, Jia Qing, who got caught in the crossfire, had already fainted, and Yi Shiwen didn't pay him any attention. As for this guy who wanted to kill him, it was good enough that Yi Shiwen did not directly kill him. It was because they were in public. If they were in private, and Jia Qing dared to show murderous intent, Yi Shiwen would have killed him already. Although Yi Shiwen was not a bad person, he was not a soft-hearted person. Even if people described him as cruel, he wouldn't really care. That won't be necessary. It won't matter at all, said Yi Ziwen lightly. The battle just now did not consume much of his qi. Observing person scripture had been running for a few weeks and had completely recovered, and most importantly, he now had the Star Beast bloodline. That qi was 10 times thicker than an ordinary person's. Unless it was a large-scale group battle, it was impossible to die of overconsumption under normal circumstances. Okay, you are worth my attack. Yuan Xuehai glanced lightly at Yi Shiwen as if trying to freeze the air. He could also see that Yi Shiwen was not forcefully pushing himself. Perhaps it was not important for Yi Shiwen. His big hand grabbed the air, and suddenly a snow-white longsword appeared in his hand. Majestic, Thick chi began to emanate from his whole body, and the surrounding air started to crackle. This was the sound of the air freezing and cracking. Yi Shiwen was a little surprised. This Yuan Zihai's power was the power of ice. In fact, if Jia Qing were here now, he would suffer an even more crushing defeat. It was because the power of ice would restrain Jia Qing's power of water. And most importantly, Yuan Shuahai had entered Transcendent Realm 2nd level. Although he had only just entered Transcendent Realm 2nd level, he was more substantial than Jia Qing. Although they both only just entered the 2nd level, Yuan Shuahai was clearly slightly stronger. Everyone was stunned. They finally understood why the Yuan family remained indifferent when the Wu family and the Wang family both invited help. The reason turned out to be this. They did not even have to invite help. Just Yuan Zhuhai's Transcendent Realm 2nd level cultivation was their most tremendous confidence. With Yuan Shuahai, if they won the championship, then they won. If they didn't win, then inviting someone else to help would not make a difference. It's no wonder Yuan Shuahai is still full of confidence even after watching Yi Shiwen compete. This is why. Yes, no one would have thought that Yuan Shuahai could hide his strength so well. No wonder they don't need to invite help from outside. He himself is the strongest master. Then, I shall take action. Yuan Shuahai yelled violently. The white long sword in his hand sprung out at the spur moment. Phantom suddenly appeared in the sky, rushing straight toward Yi Shiwen like lightning, trying to besiege Shiwen violently. The long sword condensed from sword will in Yi Zaiwen's hand once again shot out, directly filling the sky with sword light. He sheltered himself within it. Dang! 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 There was a crisp sound of metals colliding. Those white sword shadows were not able to break through Yi Zaiwen's protective sword light. Before they could get close, they were all shattered. Although Yi Shiwen had never decided on his path, if others thought that his sword cultivation was weak, then they would be wrong. In fact, it was difficult for him to have any shortcomings. With the mysterious space, it would be quickly made up for even if he had any shortcomings. For others, it might take a lot of time or energy, but for him, it was just a matter of consuming some spiritual energy. At that moment, Yuan Shuahai had already rushed up. Instantaneously, the white longsword rushed out and slashed toward Yi Zaiwen's front. There was a cold light restricted in the tip of the sword. Almost instantly, Yi Zaiwen's protective sword light was broken. This was the most typical way of breaking through one's chink in the armor, just like how Yi Shiwen used Invincible Sword to break through the chink in the wave-breaking saber technique's armor. As long as the chink was broken, then the entire armor would collapse. Although that was the case, there were very few people who could do that. Most people could only hear about it and treat it as a martial arts experience. Burial Earth Sword. In Yi Zaiwen's hand, the sword will expand instantly and slash downward at lightning speed. The terrifying sword will roar in an instant, sweeping over Yuan Zhuhai's head as if it was trying to take revenge. He already stopped caring about the white longsword coming for him. The two longswords were getting closer to each other. Both sides looked indifferent as if they couldn't see the longswords getting closer. It seemed a lose-lose situation where both of them would die by each other's swords. There was a smile at the corner of Yi Zaiwen's mouth. At the final moment, Yuan Shuahai finally took action and waved his sword to block Yi Zaiwen's offense. At that critical moment, he ended up deciding against employing a lose-lose tactic where both of them would die. Chapter 846. Chapter 846. Taking complete control of the battle boom. Yi Zaiwen's sword will fell on Yuan Zhuhai's longsword. Both of their strengths were equally terrifying. Both their energies directly blew up the air. The shockwaves from the explosion rose and swept out in all directions. The corner of Yi Zaiwen's mouth quirked slightly. This sword forced Yuan Shuahai to go back to defense, and it was an excellent start. It meant that the battle's pace had finally fallen out of Yuan Zhuhai's hands into his own hands. He finally understood that Yuan Zhuhai's strength was not weaker than his. Compared to Jia Qing, Yuan Shuahai was even stronger. The shockwaves from the battle between the two sides were too strong. The masters from the three families had to join forces to set up a barrier to prevent the shockwaves from the battle between the two sides from affecting them and the other disciples. He is already so strong now. Wang Mingyu stared blankly at the center of the arena. She wasn't talking about Yi Shiwen, but Yuan Xuehai. She had already known that Yi Shiwen was very powerful for a long time, but it was the first time she learned about Yuan Zuhai's strength. Or in other words, she did not expect that in these short 10 years, Yuan Xuehai had entered Transcendent Realm second level much faster than the rest of them. She and Wu Chenhai both wanted to use Spiritual Volcano's baptism to ascend into Transcendent Realm second level. Meanwhile, Yuan Xuehai had already entered Transcendent Realm second level. Then, after Spiritual Volcano's baptism, he would most likely attain Transcendent Realm second level peak. By then, Yuan Xuehai would be stronger than them. Yi Shiwen was not a big deal. He was just an outsider anyway. He couldn't stay here for a long time, but Yuan Xuehai was different. He represented the Yuan family, one of the three major families. If she couldn't catch up in cultivation as soon as possible, then she would only get left behind further and further in the end. The only good thing was that Wu Chenhai's strength was not much better than hers. They could be considered to be in the same position. However, Yuan Xuehai was just one step ahead of them. Luckily, it was possible to make up the difference. After all, no one dared to say that their cultivation would only improve by leaps and bounds, that there would not be a time when their cultivation would stagnate. After all, they had been fighting for so many years. She still had this bit of confidence. Yuan Xuehai quickly understood that his control of the battle had fallen promptly into Yi Zaiwen's hands, but he could not do anything despite realizing it. It was because he couldn't be like Yi Shiwen, who wasn't scared of dying and didn't care if both of them got wounded. Yi Shiwen had a strong physical body and the Phoenix regeneration technique, so he often didn't mind an eye-for-an-eye fighting style. For him, he had no weaknesses and was fearless, but Yuan Xuehai was not. However, Yuan Xuehai was able to take the lead and enter the Transcendent Realm second level before Wang Mingyu and Wu Chenhai, which was not an easy feat. The longsword waved out a sky full of sword light that turned into flying snowflakes. A blizzard formed and swept towards Yi Shiwen. Each of these snowflakes was condensed by sword light and contained terrifying energy. When it exploded, its power was even more frightening than a bomb. Yi Shiwen immediately knew the truth about these snowflakes. He immediately thrust out his sword in an unremarkable manner, but it was swift. Thousands of swords were shot out in an instant. Boom! 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 There were sounds of violent explosions all around Yi Shiwen. The snowflakes burst open on the spot, and the energy that spilled out swept toward Yi Zaiwen's body, but they were all blocked by the protective qi on Yi Zaiwen's body. These snowflakes couldn't get within 10 feet of Yi Shiwen. Since there was no way to get close, there was no way for the shockwaves from the explosion to hurt Yi Shiwen. Compared to Yuan Xuehai, who was a real sword master, Yi Zaiwen's sword techniques were not as magnificent and unmatched, seemingly even a little crude. But with such a simple sword technique, Yi Shiwen could unleash an unprecedentedly terrifying power. He was simply quick, accurate, and harsh. But it was this speed, accuracy, and harshness that rendered Yuan Xuehai helpless against Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen also took a step forward. Burial Sword, Burial Earth Sword, and Invincible Sword alternated in Yi Zaiwen's hands, all of which were very pure and powerful. Besides the last move, Immortality Sword, those three moves could be regarded as top martial techniques. Both of their figures quickly disappeared from everyone's eyes. They were agile. Everyone could barely judge their positions in the constant explosion of snowflakes. Yuan Zuhai's expression became more solemn. When it came to sword technique skillfulness, he was better than Yi Shiwen, but the pace of the entire battle was under Yi Zaiwen's control. The reason was none other than because Yi Zaiwen's power was too great. Every time the sword tip touched Yuan Xuehai, he could feel a terrifying power from the sword that made his arms feel slightly numb. One could imagine how dreadful it was. Yi Shiwen was also going all out. Except for some killing moves, he indeed did not hold back. Yuan Xuehai was much more potent than Jia Qing, and he must use his full strength to handle Yuan Shuehai. Otherwise, there was simply no way to suppress Yuan Shuehai. Ugh! Soaring ice dragon! Yuan Shuehai yelled violently, and the long sword in his hand revolved in an instant, forming a snow-colored halo that instantly swept into a huge ice dragon. In the sunlight, the ice crystals were lifelike. Every piece of the dragon's scales looked real, and there were even stripes on them. It was simply a colossal ice dragon. Roar! The ice dragon roared and pounced toward Yi Shiwen. The ice dragon opened its bloody mouth and spat suddenly. It sprayed slush all over the sky as if it was trying to freeze the whole world. Every bit of slush was able to freeze and destroy the air. They were all formed using sword chi. Burial sword. The long sword in Yi Zaiwen's hand glowed with a mighty sword light that shot out. It also formed an overwhelming sword screen that went head-to-head with the slush. Boom! 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 The slush transformed into ice-type sword chi and collided with Yi Zaiwen's sword light. The sound of the explosion lingered in everyone's ears. Roar! The ice dragon roared and instantly spread its thick claws. It directly tore a massive tear in the sword screen that Yi Shiwen made. Its huge ice crystal body rushed in, opening its bloody mouth and trying to bite Yi Shiwen, trying to swallow him down completely. Boom! With a loud noise, the dragon completely swallowed Yi Shiwen. Everyone exclaimed, "Was Yi Shiwen about to die?" Everyone stared at the gigantic ice dragon, wondering what happened to Yi Shiwen. Wang Minyu almost broke the armrest of her seat. Her beautiful eyes stared at the ice dragon. This was not only because of Yi Shiwen, but also because it was related to whether the Wang family's counterattack this time would succeed. Even in the long run, this was related to the Wang family's fortune in the distant future. It was normal to not win the championship, and it was even unsurprising to lose several times in a row, but losing 10 times in a row was a problem. And at this time, the Wu family and the Yuan family were taking turns to win the championship, clearly trying to suppress the Wang family. Whether they could take the championship from the hands of these two was a very crucial matter. Clang! There was a loud sound of metal trembling. Boundless sword chi swept up from within the ice dragon. With a rumble and a loud noise, the ice dragon exploded on the spot, genuinely turning into slush in the sky. Driven by the sword chi, the sky full of slush formed a massive blizzard. As long as he's okay, Wang Minyu breathed out a sigh of relief when she saw the ice dragon explode directly on the spot. At that moment, everyone realized how terrifying Yi Shiwen was. When the ice dragon swallowed him, many people thought that Yi Shiwen was doomed, but they didn't expect that Yi Shiwen would be able to escape. Yi Shiwen wielded a sword in his hand. No one could understand the danger he went through just now. Just now, he was bombarded by a sky full of sword chi in the belly of the ice dragon, and he was almost strangled on the spot. However, he had the protective Tianyuan mirror. The sword chi couldn't break the defense of Tianyuan mirror at all. Instead of waiting for Yi Shiwen to take a breath, Yuan Shuehai attacked straight away. "You are very powerful. If you can take my next sword, I will immediately turn around and leave. I want to fight for the championship this time," Yuan Shuehai shouted. He knew that Yi Shiwen had completely grasped his rhythm. Yi Shiwen was very strong, so he decided to use his most decisive killing move directly. If his most decisive killing move still couldn't deal with Yi Shiwen, then it would be meaningless to fight. Since he and Yi Shiwen began fighting, the two sides had exchanged over 100 moves. He had consumed more than half of his chi and was starting to gasp a little, but looking at Yi Shiwen, whose face was not flushed and heart wasn't racing, it felt like Yi Shiwen did not show any signs of chi overconsumption. Moreover, Yi Shiwen had fought Jia Qing just now, so Yuan Shuehai had the advantage. It showed how terrifying Yi Zaiwen's chi was. The strengths of both sides were almost the same, neck and neck. If Yuan Shuehai continued to consume chi at this rate, he would lose. Rather than lose that way, it would be better to fight one last desperate fight. It would be best if he could beat Yi Shiwen but if he couldn't, he could still retreat decently. Icebound Realm. Yuan Shuihai yelled violently. The majestic ice-type Qi instantly swept across the arena. The temperature plummeted by dozens of degrees, and a blizzard began to blow frantically. Yuan Zuhai's longsword shot out instantly, and the sword light turned into an icicle that was ejected. The blizzard in the sky was also attracted by a strange force, revolving rapidly around the icicle. The blizzard became more intense, taking up half the arena. It hurtled toward Yi Shiwen. Chapter 847. Chapter 847. Becoming champion, this icicle emanated destruction, seemingly unstoppable in its attempt to seal the sky and the earth. This was the pinnacle of Yuan Zuhai's sword technique. If Yi Shiwen could mitigate this blow, Yuan Shuihai would be rendered vulnerable with no chance of fighting back. After all, the vast majority of the remaining qi in Yuan Shuihai would be depleted in an instant. One move would determine the outcome. All that mattered was in this move. The icicles summoned the blizzard and occupied the sky. The surrounding ice and snow condensed near the icicles were launched at lightning speed. Yi Shiwen began to become serious. Facing Yuan Zuhai's ultimate killer move, he had to stay alert and even go all out. Otherwise, he might be killed on the spot. No matter how oppressive Yi Zaiwen's combat power was, he was only at half-step Transcendent Realm. There was a fair gap with Transcendent Realm. Sure enough, it was a long-lasting weakness that he would be helpless with for a long time. The golden divinity robe on his body was gleaming. There was an imperceptible crimson hue at the golden divinity robe's surface. Meteor explosion. Yi Shiwen gave all out and utilized his ultimate move, albeit he was still in the process of researching it and deducing it. Although meteor explosion was not fully comprehended, Yi Shiwen still managed to activate it. Of course, the power output had not reached the highest value, which Yi Shiwen could pull off. But even so, the power output had already transcended Shattered Star Fist and the other moves he was accustomed to previously. Yi Zaiwen's hand was immediately wrapped with the boundless star powers. The star power engulfed the sky. It was at a completely different caliber as compared to the ice and snow permeating the air. The star power had seemingly declared its authority in this region. Boom! Yi Zaiwen's fist was wrapped in the power of countless stars, turned into a star, and slammed into the icicle that was blowing the wind and snow. Boom! Two extremely terrifying forces collided, emitted two powerful shock waves, not giving way to each other in midair. At that very moment, the crowd witnessed the two exchange blows clearly. After all, the two of them decided not to defeat their opponent with speed, but sheer strength. They slammed into each other on the spot like two gigantic monsters, not giving way to each other and not allowing each other to move forward at all. It was supposed to be an arena that could completely withstand the younger generation's fight, but it had now completely collapsed. When the two were fighting, the terrible shockwaves swept out in all directions. There were three prominent clans members on all sides. The barriers laid by the clan's masters were still firm, but the arena above the ground was obliterated. Similarly, the arrays laid at the arena previously were all shattered in an instant. Yuan Shuihai broke out in cold sweat. This technique had exhausted all his qi. If he couldn't defeat Yi Shiwen, then he would be done for. He had not recovered yet. Even a great sage could kill him. This was a double-edged sword. Hence, it was only utilized either at the last moment or an uphill fight. After all, there was nothing else to be concerned about at the last moment. If Yuan Shuihai did nothing else, it would be his demise. Giving all out might change his fate. Behind him, the Yuan family's masters all watched Yuan Shuihai nervously. Even if Yuan Shuihai failed, losing a slot once or twice did not affect the big picture. However, if something happened to Yuan Shuihai, it would be a real loss to the Yuan family. Yuan Shuihai was the strongest among the younger generation the family had nurtured. The family couldn't bear to lose him anyway. They might not worry too much previously. After all, Yuan Shuihai was still an elite that Wu family had no way to deal with despite foreign aid. But the family didn't expect that Yuan Shuihai was forced to the point where he had to fight to the death. Both sides seemed to have exhausted all their strength as they madly collided with each other. "It's time. I can defeat you in one move." Yi Shiwen shouted. Meteor explosion. Coupled with Yi Zaiwen's shout, the stars on his fists suddenly began to burn fanatically, emitting glaring light in different directions. Boom! The meteor exploded, and the power of the explosion seemed to be controlled. Invisible barriers formed around it, and the blast was diverted toward the icicle. Boom! With a loud bang, the icicle cracked immediately. The icicle tip shattered, turning into ice sludge on the spot. Then, the rest of the icicle was broken apart inch by inch under Yi Zaiwen's fist impact. It happened like a domino. With one spot shattered, the entire icicle began to crack inch by inch. Asterisk crack. Asterisk asterisk crack. Asterisk asterisk crack. Asterisk series of cracking sounds resounded. The cracks, which resembled a spider web, quickly covered the entire icicle. Boom! The entire icicle was shattered with its pieces scattered around, revealing the long white sword in it. Yi Zaiwen's fist momentum was undiminished. It slammed on the long white sword like two big hammers. Puff! Yuan Shuihai felt a terrifying and monstrous power crash on him with the sword as a medium. The aura barrier left on his body was diminishing already. At this moment, this impact shattered the barrier into dust instantly. Immediately, that impact bombarded Yuan Shuihai's body. The impact was not weakened in any slight. Despite his excellent physique, it was still incomparable to Yi Shiwen, a monster hiding beneath human skin. Immediately, a mouthful of blood spurted out. Yuan Shuihai's figure flew directly into the Yuan family seats. "Shuihai, it's fine." Instantly, many of the Yuan family's elder masters were in a mess. They caught Shuihai and relieved the impact. Seeing Yuan Shuihai's hands, the Yuan family's elders became furious immediately. As they were about to lose their temper at Yi Shiwen, Yuan Shuihai staggered to his feet and prevented the clan members from swearing at Yi Shiwen. "Thank you for giving mercy this time, but I will find a chance to fight with you again," Yuan Shuihai said with a pale face covering his chest. He naturally knew that Yi Shiwen did not give all out. Otherwise, he would never survive, especially Yi Zaiwen's last move, meteor explosion. It was a horrifying scene, like a meteor exploding in the sky. Even the Transcendent Realm Masters might be blown to pieces if Yi Shiwen gave all out. He could faintly sense that the activation was incomplete, or else its might could escalate into another caliber. However, no matter whether this technique was completed or not, it did not matter to Yuan Shuihai. He could escape the catastrophe because Yi Shiwen showed mercy. Yi Shiwen just smiled and shook his head. He had a good impression of Yuan Shuihai. In any case, Yuan Shuihai was still an upright person. This person had given him a chance to fully recover before the fight. That was why Yi Shiwen gave mercy. Otherwise, Yi Shiwen was not a soft-hearted person. For example, Jia Qing went into a coma because of his kick. The Yuan family members only relaxed a little after hearing Yuan Shuihai's words. Hearing Yuan Shuihai said this, it seemed that there was no danger, and they were relieved. Yuan Shuihai was the sore spot in their hearts. As long as Yuan Shuihai wasn't critically wounded, they would not have anything else to say. Compared with the Yuan family master, who was relieved, the Wu family master was much more depressed. Among the eyes looking at Yi Shiwen, there were vicious gazes. Yi Shiwen gave mercy to Yuan Shuihai, but he didn't on Wu Chenhai and Jia Qing. Yi Shiwen just sneered at these spiteful gazes and didn't care at all. He was not stupid. How could he easily forgive someone who wanted to kill himself? If it weren't because it was in public with many masters present, Yi Shiwen would behead them ruthlessly. Ha, we won. We won. For 500 years, God bless my Wang family. Great, we won, we won. God bless you. This Yi Shiwen defeated Yuan Shuihai. It's amazing. Compared with the Yuan family masters who kept silent for a while, the Wu family masters repeatedly cursed Yi Shiwen. The Wang family masters felt a burst of ecstasy. It had been 500 years, The situation was finally reversed. Although compared to the 10,000-year lifespan of a transcendent realm master, these 500 years were not too long. Even so, it was uncomfortable to be suppressed under the Wu family and the Yuan family in these 500 years. Moreover, Wu family and Yuan family had a faint tendency to join forces, which was extremely unfavorable to the Wang family. Perhaps no harm would surface in a short time. However, after waiting for several thousand years, the number of masters in the Wang family would be far inferior to the Wu family and the Yuan family. By that time, the Wang family would either have to flee from South Initiate Island or be unlisted. There would be no other end. This would be the result of the imbalance in strength. But everything had changed. Although it was only once, it broke the faint union between the two families. It was a massive slap to their arrogance. It altered the decline of the 500 years in one fell swoop. He did it. He really did it. Wang Mingyu felt a little unbelievable. Previously, she was the one who had the most confidence in Yi Shiwen. When everyone in the Wang family doubted Yi Shiwen, only she stood up to support Yi Shiwen. But at this time, she couldn't believe it. Yi Shiwen won the championship. This had far exceeded her expectations. At the very beginning, she even wanted Yi Ziwen's help to not lose too badly. She did not expect Yi Shiwen to crush everyone and became the champion. Yes, he really did it. The young lady has keen eyes. Behind Wang Mingyu, Uncle Le said with a slight smile, and the shock in his eyes had just diminished. Chapter 848. Chapter 848. Wu family's conspiracy. Yi Shiwen defeated the masters from other families on behalf of the Wang family. The news of winning the championship instantly spread throughout South Initiate Island. One stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Many residents of South Initiate Island, who had stayed for many years, found it unbelievable. After all, not everyone went to watch the slot contest. It had been 500 years since the last time the Wang family became the champion. The champion was either taken away by Wu family or Yuan family. Basically, there was no Wang family share. The entry slots contest into the spiritual volcano was not a big deal for many ordinary warriors. No matter what, it wasn't something they could attain. The final winner for slots would not be them. Only 1 or 2 slots would be shared among 20 million ordinary warriors. The slots were majorly in the hands of prominent families. Having one slot befall to them was one of a kind, rare luck. Therefore, for them, this slot contest was mainly to observe the strength of the 3 clans. The stronger ones would naturally win the championship, and the weaker ones would naturally win fewer times. In the past 500 years, the Wang family had not been able to win the championship once. For Transcendent Realm's lifespan of 10,000 years, 500 years was not worth mentioning. It would not be able to shake the Wang family's 10,000 years foundation, but ordinary warriors won't think so. What they could see was the decline of the Wang family over the past 500 years. Hence, the warriors who were hesitant would not join the Wang family side. In the long run, the Wang family would falter against the other 2 prominent families. This was the issue the Wang family was helpless with. The Wu family was planning to utilize this issue to slowly grind the Wang family to death, like boiling frogs in warm water. When the Wang family realized something was wrong, they would not be much capable of fighting back. The Wang family was obviously aware of this and wanted to make a change. However, they were helpless all these while since they were unable to win the championship. They were not convincing the crowd. The crowd wouldn't believe that the Wang family did not falter. But now, with Yi Ziwen's victory, the depression that shrouded them all these years was wiped out. They were all elated. Many warriors had begun to invest in the Wang family side because of this victory. In contrast to them, many of the experts in the Wu family were in a sour mood. How could this be? Despite so many years of planning, Yi Shiwen had ruined their plan. Worse still, they couldn't deal with Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen stayed in Wang family's house. The Wu family had no chance to assault Yi Shiwen. Damn it. This damn Yi Shiwen ruined our Wu family's many years of planning. What the hell? In the Wu family conference hall, Wu family masters cussed one after another, wishing Yi Shiwen would be cursed to death. Despite knowing that it was impossible, they continued. For them, it was a way to vent, and it was better than nothing. Above all seats, Wu Nanjie had a gloomy face, and his eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. Big brother, we can't just suck it up. Look at Little Hai. He was beaten up so badly that it would take him a few years to recover. At the seat next to the main seat, a tall man yelled angrily. He somewhat resembled Wu Nanjie. He was Wu Nanjie's only younger brother, Wu Ying. In the Wu family, Wu Ying was the main combat force. He had superb cultivation, second only to Wu Nanjie's Transcendent Realm 5th level, reaching the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. He had always insisted on being ruthless to the outside world, especially the plan to deal with the Wang family. He was involved in the majority of the plan. If someone blindly believed that he was a simple and honest person because of his appearance, it would be a big mistake. Indeed, family master, what that kid is doing now has turned our plans plotted for hundreds of years into nothingness almost overnight. We absolutely can't let that kid go. Yeah, that's right. We should spare no mercy to that. Otherwise, what will happen to our reputation? Who will give us face in the future? Simple-minded. You're only focused on fighting. If I could, I would have already killed him in the arena, said Wu Nanjie impatiently. Yi Shiwen must be well protected by the Wang family now. If he could, he would have killed Yi Shiwen in the arena when Shiwen was unprepared. Of course, he didn't know that Yi Shiwen had a trump card, but he firmly believed in his judgment that he could definitely kill this kid. He is under the protection of the Wang family. We have no way to kill him, said Wu Nanjie. Then let's wait until he comes out. I don't think a foreigner like him would want to stay in South Initiate Island for a lifetime. As long as he comes out, it is our chance to make a move, said Wu Ying coldly. Killing intent flickered in his gaze, as if there was a destructive world in it, which was terrifying. No one knew how many people were killed to form such a killing intent. That kid has become stronger now. After he is baptized in the spiritual volcano, I am afraid that even the Transcendent Realm's second-level masters will be unmatched. If we make a move, we can kill him. However, the Wang family will put close observation on us. Any slight move from us will raise Wang family's alert. Wu Nanjie shook his head and said. He recognized the big picture clearly. Yi Shiwen had tarnished Wu family's face and let their Wu family's hundreds of years of plan go to waste. This was exactly why they must kill Yi Shiwen. As for their son Wu Chenhai's hatred, it was just a small trigger and not a big deal at all. But for the same reason, the Wang family would spare no effort to protect Yi Shiwen. Right now, Yi Shiwen had almost become a representative figure for their Wang family. If their Wang family couldn't even protect Yi Shiwen and let Yi Shiwen be killed, who else would dare to take refuge in their Wang family? Who would dare to work for their Wang family? Hence, no matter what, the Wang family would give it all to protect Yi Shiwen. Especially during the period when Yi Shiwen was still in the Wang family, it was even more critical. No one else was allowed to assault Yi Shiwen. Because of this, Wu Ying only dared to make a move after Yi Shiwen left. He didn't dare to promise that he would deal with Yi Shiwen when the target was still in the Wang family, because he feared the deterrent coming from the Wang family. To prevent the Wu family masters from hunting down Yi Shiwen, anyone Wu family masters' movements were inevitably under surveillance. If anything went wrong, the Wang family would make a big move. As forces fighting against each other for countless years, they were so familiar with each other. They knew each other's trump card. It was not an easy task to hide from the Wang family, while at the same time hunting down Yi Shiwen. Brother, if you are worried about this, then leave it to me, said Wu Ying as he patted his chest. Have you figured out something? Wu Nanjie looked at his younger brother with some doubts. Even he was put in a helpless spot. Would his younger brother have a way? It's simple. In my previous adventure, I met a brother. He is not a human, but the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan in the sea. The name is Yixiangtian. Our brotherhood is deep. As long as I say a word, he can help us kill that Yi Shiwen. Even if we can just let the Wang family witness it powerless, we don't even have to do anything. Ha! When we got the news of the kid's death, we can mock the Wang family's poor state. Wu Ying laughed loudly in delight as though he had witnessed Yi Ziwen's death. He believed that Yi Shiwen had no chance of escape. Then, what's your brother's strength? Wu Nanji asked. He didn't have any more questions on the Sea Clan. As a matter of fact, in the Endless Sea region, it wasn't entirely accurate to say that the human claimed the seaside while the Sea Clans claimed the sea bottom. In fact, the entire sea region should be considered under the Sea Clan sovereign. They were the actual overlords of the sea. These intelligent clans living in the sea were tyrannical. Any sea clans alone could shock the world. Fortunately, these sea clans were also divided into different forces. The conquests between each other far exceed the hostility between human forces, which allowed human beings to survive in this endless sea region. But even so, most of the sea regions were still under the reign of beast or sea clans. The regions that were truly under the humans' reign might not even composite 1/10 of the sea regions. They were densely scattered on the island. Therefore, it was customary to have business deals with those sea clans. Even many human forces adhered to certain sea clans in a format similar to subordinate forces. They had to constantly turn in various resources and abide by the sea clan's deployment, sending people to the sea bottom in the war efforts of the sea clan they adhered to. The difficulty of human survival in the sea region was apparent. The only difference was that the sea clan and the sea was hostile to each other. There was no way for them to form an alliance like the 100 Clan Alliance. Otherwise, the human situation would be even worse. He is already the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. Although he is a little weaker than me, there is no problem at all to get rid of that little brat. Wu Ying nodded and said, That's great. This time I want this little brat to die without any remains. Wu Nanjia laughed. The entire Wu family conference hall was also immersed in sinister and wild laughter. With the end of the championship, the dispute between the 3 clans came to an end. Now, the 3 clans were allocating slots among themselves. Everyone was discussing the matter of who would be accepting Spiritual Volcano's baptism. 1 Chinese depiction of the butterfly effect. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.